sit back and watch me speak. About to take over your screen. Talking bulls in 93. Talking mom, I'm on TV. Y'all know all I do is me. All I do is me. Y'all sit back and watch me speak. Y'all sit back and all I know, my money green. About to snap and make a scene. My cup off and make this free. My cup off and make them scream. Go back off for TMZ. Y'all sit back and watch me speak. Y'all sit back and watch me speak. Y'all sit back and watch. Watch me.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's broadcast of the Aegis Champions League, where we are starting to round out our split with our lower bracket semifinals matchup between Return of the Middlesticks and Exodia Exiles. My name's Gordo. I am joined today by TDS. TDS, things are really getting down to the wire here as we are playing on a Thursday night to determine who the second team is going to be in our finals just tomorrow.
Exactly, on a Thursday night, one day before our grand final. So going to be a couple of days, a couple of really interesting days, a bit forceful on the team that does win tonight because they have to play essentially back-to-back Bo5s. But it's going to be really interesting and really exciting to see if they're going to be able to perform. Especially these three teams that we have left. Obviously, Mirage Alliance tomorrow going to be the biggest test of all. But these two teams have done a lot of merit to try and get to this spot. And I think they're going to be tough fights for Mirage Alliance if they get to the grand finals.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, both of these teams going to be looking for shots at the king here. Mirage Alliance, of course, going to be coming in as heavy favorites. And these teams with a little bit of history with each other here. Exodia Exiles knocking Return of the Middlesticks down to the lower bracket all the way back in round 2 of playoffs. And now Return of the Middlesticks, rather, having fought all the way through the entire lower bracket to get here and haven't dropped a single game since coming down. A 2-0 versus UMN Maroon, a 2-0 versus Chaotic Solar, 3-0 versus CCG, and then a 3-0 up against Water Buffaloes United just last Friday. Now coming in looking to keep that win streak going as they play up against the team that knocked them down in the first place.
And doing so for them would be really ideal since they need to try and not get the mental block, but obviously the revenge story can almost always be really great. And for them to try and look farther than that, gaining over this roadblock would be the most ideal situation for them. I think they have the tools to be able to pull it off, especially since, like you're saying, they are going through a really good streak of essentially winning every BO5 since, or every BO3 and BO5 since going to the lower bracket, and they are doing so in a really dominating fashion. Even last matchup that they had, we were expecting it to go to 5 games, and they just dismantled Water Buffaloes in a really effective manner. So I wouldn't be surprised if today we see something similar from both of these teams.
Absolutely, and it looks like we are getting kicked off with our picks and bans here. Exodia Exiles going to be on the blue side, Return of the Middlesticks on the red to start things off. And Exodia Exiles going to start off with banning that Lilia. Was such a big pick for Dragowski just last week. Had some real big pop-off performances on the Deer. They're going to look to deny that right out of the bat as we start to feel out these teams coming into what could be a pretty long best of 5.
It really could end up being the case. And this first game, it's something we've talked about in previous VO5s, right? The fact that the first games almost always feel like something to try and feel what the opponent will try and pull off, to see what they would like to play, what you would like to try and ban away, and try and figure out the meta inside of the VO5. That's why we see picks like the Lilia being covered so much, even though they are really popping up in the meta. It's something that maybe eventually in the series goes away, and nobody really cares if the champion is still banned or picked at all. That's why we keep on seeing these champions coming through, with the addition also of the Poppy, the Maokai, a lot of jungle focus. And I'm curious, are we going to see a Caitlyn ban? Are we going to see Caitlyn picks, since she was buffed recently?
She was, and it's really going to be a big question coming in, given how some of the champion pools are going to be impacted here. I mean, we are on the new patch. Yep. Tristana mid, a little bit nerfed, but Tristana 80 carry, in theory, held to about the exact same spot she was in previously. That might actually be a little bit of a buff to Return of the Middlesticks, who have been more frequently giving that Tristana into the bot lane towards Puppe, at least in their series last week. Meanwhile, another champion I'm keeping a close eye on is Wukong. He got some minor buffs, but junglers in this league especially have been busting that champion out one way or the other. BB Swag especially has gotten quite a few Wukong games in this season. Dragowski's been no stranger to the pick either. I think it might end up being a big influence here, especially for Exodia Exiles coming into this game number 1, as the Maokai and the Sejuani have both been banned away. Could see that Monkey make an appearance.
But even with all of that, Gordo, run it, dread from it, it's Kai'Sa Rel on the first 2 picks. It feels like nothing has changed so far with everything we've talked about. Kai'Sa still is a really strong champion, so no surprises there. Really interested in seeing how they will perform with this Kai'Sa going forward. And the Rel as well, strong engage, really consistent, a lot of CC value, fits in with a lot of compositions. And if you play this sort of self-peeling AD carries like the Saya as well, she gets a lot more value because she doesn't have to protect the AD carry as much as possible. But it's going to be Kai'Sa Saya once again, so no surprises with the Caitlyn buffs being added to the play. And also, the mid lane pool hasn't been touched much in terms of the bans, so just the Talia that we saw Max perform amazingly with. But apart from that, there's still a pretty big open pool, and we know Max can pull almost any champion after what he performed last week. The Veigar coming here.
All right, wow, going to actually show some priority on that selection. They know that they're up against the Azir, so they're just going to run it back and take that Veigar selection once again. Was real effective up against Water Buffaloes last week. He had a huge pop-off game on it, got a huge amount of kills, was pretty much untouchable at the amount of AP that he was able to obtain. And looks like they're confident enough in the pick that they're going to run it back here in game number 1. Of course, that Xayah been a huge pick for Puppet as well, going to be run back on the same time, knowing that they're going to be pairing that up with the Rel more than likely. Could also flex that Rel towards the jungle for Dragowski and then take a Rakan to pair up with it. We'll see if that's an option that Exodia fears enough to actually ban away, given that they did get that big Alistar counter pick in the bottom lane. So it's almost advisable at this point for Return of the Middlesticks to try to get that Rel out of the bot lane.
It would be really, really ideal. And since we know that it can be flexed around really effectively, can be moved really towards the jungle and try and find a lot of value there. They are trying to ban away both the top lane pool and now the jungle pool potentially here by Return of the Middlesticks. If they are able to find a really good cohesive pick that can go with the comp, something like a Leona, I would really be happy that they go through with that. But even then, there's still a couple of tank junglers that you could opt into, even without the Maokai, even without the Rel. There's a couple here and there that I could see going through in the jungle as tanks that can find a lot of value. I'm not sure what the last ban was.
It was Jax, if I'm looking at it here. So going to be taking that one away from the Kooky Krook side, and we'll see what Return of the Middlesticks want to do here. They can save that top lane pick as the counter pick. They can keep the flex alive. Then they're hovering this Viego for Dragowski. That would solidify this Rel as a bot lane selection and would then give them counter pick for Kooky Krook, and that's exactly what they're going to go for. You know, these are a couple of real strong carry top laners coming into this game. Kooky Krook has been able to do a lot on the Rumbles, the Jaxes, the Olafs of the world, whereas Ricky LaFleur coming in for the top lane of Exodia Exiles. He's had a bunch of Darius games, a bunch of Aatrox games, a bunch of Olaf games himself. Both of these guys want to be able to build up an advantage in that one-on-one matchup, so getting the counter pick on the red side going to be a big deal. Although that's a new lock-in for BB Swag. Very, very different stuff coming out of him here. This is going to be his first new game of the ACL.
I'm so excited to see this coming through, and this is exactly why the BO5s are almost always fun. You see these sort of out of nowhere picks that can really become impactful if the game goes really, really well for the pick. The Nunu and Willem going to come through, and I'm really interested in seeing how BB Swag performs with the champion. Ornn as a last pick in the top lane, consistent top laner, blind pickable as well. That means that you will have a really good tank to play around with, but you were hyping them up, Gordo, and with that in mind, it's going to be Kooky Krook taking potentially the Fiora here, but any counter top laner that he wants against this Ornn, and it's going to be the Fiora. Not a lot of tank value on Return of the Middlesticks comp, but a lot of split pushing value thanks to this Fiora, and also the damage profiles of the composition are quite nice. Like they have Fiora, Viego, Veigar, and Saya to try and be the main carries, and if they're able to not get bursted out in a team fight, I can see a lot of their champions having a lot of value in the game.
And it's a kooky crew kingdom for Return of the Middlesticks coming into
Yep.
this game in number one. Nobody's going to be able to match this Fiora in the side lane coming into the later game in the one-on-one. Even the one-on-twos are going to get real difficult when you've got Nunu and Ornn as your top laner and your jungler. So going to really be looking to find those team fights and be able to accelerate the game enough to where Return of the Middlesticks can't really go through that side lane game plan here. Exodia Exiles, they'll want to try to secure some early dragons if they can and threaten some of those big objectives, or just build up leads elsewhere to where they can just out pressure and out force some of these fights up against this Fiora and prevent her from really just becoming a monster in the side lanes. Because Return of the Middlesticks gets into a position where they can just sit around safely and give time for split pushing to occur for Kooky Krook. That's going to be their best recipe for success.
Yeah, overall, I think that has to be the best way to try and play around with it. And another thing that I'm kind of looking at with the composition from Exiles is they have quite a huge amount of magical damage when you really look at the comp profile, right? They have the Kaisa that, yes, you can opt into going just a heavy AD build, which I think this game should be the case, but she can also go into the AP build. They have the Asir, they have Noon and Willem that does go a bit hybrid in that sense, or hybrid no, but a bit on the AP side, but also on the tank side. And then Ornn that does quite a bit of magical damage as well. Even Alistair, to a certain degree, does a lot of good amount of magical damage as well. So you have a huge amount of magical damage on one side, and even though there's no tanks, itemization against it, it's not that difficult to find for multiple champions in the Return of the Middlesticks comp. If they fall behind, it can be really tricky for them to try and find avenues to turn around the game, because yes, they have the team fighting value, but their damage may be negated just because it's such a consistent profile in the composition.
Yeah, and it's, it's the real big zoning power and self peel that the champions that Return of the Middlesticks have drafted bring to the table. Vigar going to have that event horizon to buy some space. The Featherstorm for Xayah on Puppet going to also be a huge self peel tool. And when you're playing something like the Ornn or something like Nunu and Willump, you really want to land, the big snowball, the big Call the Forge God. And these are real telegraphed abilities that you can definitely do a lot to get out of, especially if you're playing something like the Xayah, or if you buffer it with a Heartbreaker or anything like that. Looking towards It's Barlow, though, coming back into the support position here for Exodia Exiles. They were running Pakis for a while. Now that Barlow's back in the roster, he was with them for the majority of the season. Want to see what he's going to be able to get done, especially piloting this Alistair. He's going to be a big part of their go buttons and going to be looking to pile in on top of that Call the Forge God, of that snowball from Nunu and Willump to try to set themselves up for success.
It's committed between both the Alistair and the Ornn to a certain degree. I think that if the Nunu is the one that goes in, can be a bit tricky when you think about it. I don't think he will have a lot of the resistances to really play around that, and you don't want to blow your combo by going in as the Nunu just like way too crazy in that sense. I think the Ornn and the Alistair playing a pivotal point like that, and like you're pointing out, Barlow even more so maybe, since he's going to play a lot of the sacrificial cow this game, legitimately. I think he has to go in, he's probably going to a lot, but his engages can make or break the game for the team. So if he dies by gaining a 3-man knockup, for example, I think that's a worth sacrifice that the side of Exiles are willing to take, and that can really put the team in a really comfortable spot. But thinking about it on the other side, you have the Vigar and the Rel, and I'm more inclined on the Vigar particularly. The more I look at Max's pick, it looks so good against the team composition from Exiles. That one event horizon can negate so much of the engage, so much of the attempts from the side of Exiles, and then control so much of the areas as well. I can see just the Vigar defining how this game goes and making it so that the Return of the Mystics team can be in a super comfortable position and try and win out the game really early on.
Yeah, and I got to call out some stuff here, TDS. I'm looking at the in-client draft right now, and we have got multiple substitutions coming in for the Exodia Exiles, at least for game number one. It is going to be Mali up in the top lane, subbing in for Ricky LaFleur. It's also Lonzo in the jungle, subbing in for BB Swag. So combine those along with Barlow coming back into the roster after the pocket swap earlier on. They're running 2 out of 5 of their regular starters coming in for this first match. Don't know if that's going to be for the entire series or just for this game number one, but a big change up from the Exodia Exiles from what we've seen for the majority of their playoffs run.
And in a situation where obviously not only if you lose, you are out of the tournament now at this point can be really big, but also against a team that has been going on a streak. They are on a hot streak, doing really, really well. They are finding a lot of victories through improvement and playing as a team effectively. And you're trying to play with, or you have to play with subs, can be a bit of a hit to the morale of the side of Exiles if they get way too heavily destroyed and then they don't have any tools later on to try and resolve it. Or the return of Middlesticks, though. This is such a good opportunity. We're hinting or talking a bit about this the last week when it was return of the Middlesticks against Water Buffaloes, where it was looking like Max wasn't going to play. So that was a situation where maybe they could take advantage. But now it's Return of the Middlesticks that has that advantage. If they can play around it really, really well and find early value in the series, they can just try and go headstrong into winning the series as soon as possible.
Yeah, they definitely can. And, especially when we talk about matchups like the top lane, right? Ricky LaFleur has been such a big part of their run so far. I'm pretty sure I had him somewhere on my all-star ballot, or at least he was close to it. I don't have my exact votes in front of me right now, so would have to go and double check that. But he's had a real big season. BB Swag has had a real big season as well. Somebody I've been really impressed with in their run so far. I mean, this is a team that really had a great run so far, 6-1 in the regular season, into a dominant upper bracket run up until they faced Mirage in those top side finals. Now, having to come in here with a different roster in the lower bracket finals, it looks like real dangerous territory, especially when you're coming against a Middlesticks team who's this hot and has won this many games in a row.
It's a difficult situation to be in, but they have to try and play around with it. And technically speaking, there's also the other side of the coin where if you play really, really well, if it goes really, really well for the team and they are able to win this one out, then that already feels really good because even with subs, you were able to win the first game. Now, if the regional players come back, they can be confident that they can bid also the side of Return of the Middlesticks, and that can also affect the mentality of Return of the Middlesticks by virtue of, if we couldn't beat the subs, can we beat the starters? Something like that, right? So it's a tricky mind game to play, can have multiple effects on how the series goes. But as always, it's just the first game. It's going to be a fun one, but it's just the first game. So there's multiple things that we are going to be able to check out in this one.
Yeah, for sure here. So looking over towards both squads, I do see Chat GPT Jungler is also going to be in for Return of the Middlesticks. I'm not 100% certain if that's Dragowski or not. I will double check that and have that information once. Okay, it is Dragowski. It is Dragowski. I checked the sheet. So yeah, Return of the Middlesticks playing at full strength with their full expected roster here up against the multi-sub squad of the Exodia Exiles. They do still have that upper bracket advantage, that side selection here coming in on blue side for game one. Don't know how long they've known these substitutes were going to be needed, but if they did, they've had some time to practice, they've had some time to get ready, and now are going to have a full best of 5 at least to try to put some stuff together and see if they can repeat what was a dominant performance over Middlesticks in the upper bracket, a quick 2-0 for them. It's been quick one-sided series the whole bracket long. TDS, you're talking about this beforehand. I mean, every series that we've covered, it feels like, has been a 2-0. Every series for both of these teams, I can confirm without a doubt, has been either a 2-0 or a 3-0. So these teams, they've been winning or losing real fast, now colliding with each other here in our lower bracket finals.
Yeah, there certainly are teams that don't go in the middle. They either go all in and win it early, or they lose out really heavily. So no in between. That means that we're going to get a 3-0 tonight, Gordo. Pretty sure, fully confirmed, we're not going to get a full BO5. And we need to see who is going to win it out.
Yeah, we will, as we are ready and getting into game number 1 here onto the Rift, as Return of the Middlesticks on the red side is taking on Exodia Exiles on the blue. Immediately, both teams going to exit their base, look for that level 1, and see who is going to draw first blood in our loser side best of 5 finals.
And it's starting with a level 1, 5 members going in on the side. Please go. Well, they're going to get over the wall. I love this already.
Yeah, Boy Wonder. He's going to have that sweep back in as he looks for the remount to pull in Barlow. Will Barlow be ready for it? Here comes Boy Wonder, gets the sweep back in. Barlow maybe going to need to flash here, a nice pulverize, and has to flash out of the event horizon. Did at least force Max to level it, so gets a little bit of something, gives a little bit of pressure perhaps for Zephyrat in the mid lane.
That was such a beautiful start, level 1 from the side of Return of the Middlesticks. They go in on the side with the champion that can go over the wall, but they don't go the long way, right? Because typically you could think maybe Tribush into then trying to follow up, but they go over the wall, they go over the vision as well, and they set up a perfect play that they can 100% make the most out of. More than likely, though, could be red buff for red buff here. Nunu is one of those champions that can clear jungle really effectively, so it could be red buff for red buff as a trade, but Fiora will also lay down a ward. So already the start of the game for Return of the Middlesticks, smart and trying to keep as much control as possible.
Yeah, definitely. Starting off on the top side is going to be the Nunu. I want to pay close attention to what he's going to be able to get done on this pick. I mean, there's a lot of counter jungle potential to be had when you go for a jungler like this. And Lonzo, a jungler we haven't gotten to see a lot in the ACL, so really curious to see what he can do to try to get advantage over Dragowski, who's already invading his bottom side, by the way, already anticipating that there might be some shenanigans going on.
Actually going to go for the good route to try and secure as much farm as possible. That also means, though, that with this push could potentially set up for a really nice gank attempt, although the bot lane from Exiles should be aware of this. They should know that with the Viego having control of the bot side jungle, a gank can't happen. Oh, while Star has the flash.
All right, and Molly trading back and forth here. Is Barlow going to be the target on the bottom side? Gets a double knockup. Makel stepping up, but going to get stunned for his troubles as well. Barlow without the flash, going to get chased down, and Puppe picks up first blood for Return to the Middlesticks.
I cannot express how beautiful the start of the game has been for Return of the Middlesticks with the way that they set up everything. Even the way that the wave was pushing into them was set up so that they get level 2, have the move towards the river without the wave crashing even further into the turret, and then following onto the gank attempt from the Viego. Really well executed. Viego will lose his topside jungle. The Nunu's already moving there and he's still clearing bot side, but the move completely worth it. They will know that the Nunu is right now over on the top side, and everything setting up perfectly for Return of the Middlesticks to start this game.
Yeah, just sweeping out that whole bottom side was Dragowski, so he's going to have a solid little advantage there. We'll see how much Lonzo can trade back, but Kooky Krook already on his way over there, going to make sure that that red buff is plenty safe. They call over both solo laners just to make sure that the 3 buff can be completed, and completed it will be. Dragowski going to be able to secure his own red, and Lonzo out of stuff to do. He's got no camps left after this. Scuttle Crab is going to pay a visit through mid lane, looking for the double scuttle here, and I actually think he's going to be able to get it, as still going to be Dragowski clearing out his top side.
It's really difficult for Rakowski to be able to respond to this since he's over on the top side clearing his red buff, but I feel like the payoff that they were able to obtain is so much better for the side of Middlesticks. Oh, Ali probably has a flash.
Yeah, there's the Spectral Maw. Nice attempt to immune the CC, but he takes a ton of damage anyway. And now Lonzo paying a visit towards the bot lane. Puppe gonna have to flash back from the pulverized headbutt. The snare comes through from Lonzo, but there's no damage left. Makel a little too dangerous to step up and try to get those plasma procs, so takes a fair bit of damage in trade. Puppe gonna take the recall off the flash, and both side lanes, they get ganked and they nullify it.
They are able to deny it, but it was flashes down now for the bot side. Meanwhile, flash down for the Ornn on the top lane plus the teleport. You have to see if that is going to turn into a really big advantage or not for which side. But for the Fiora, having this sort of safety now that there's no flash on the Ornn can be really good to try and set her up even better into this matchup. The wave is getting pushed though, so maybe they are setting up for the play. Yep.
All right, nice punt in on Puppe. He's got no flash. He's got the heal, but not even going to use it. Wouldn't be able to stay alive for very long at all. Makel going to be the one who cashes out on that kill and evens things up here. Going to keep the gold within 200 of each other, and a great execution there in the bottom lane to set up Exodia Exiles to stay even in this game.
100% great execution, really well played, and they took advantage of the fact that no flashes on the bot lane means that they are now able to try and push the issue a bit more. Kooky Krook going to stay for a bit longer here. He doesn't want the wave to get stuck in this position, but you're really low in health. You have to be careful.
Yeah, Kooky Krook getting a little aggressive here, gets hit by the Bellows Breath. Nice dodge on the Searing Charge. And now it's the time to recall him. Molly, though,
yeah,
he's going to step up. He's going to find him. I mean, he's going to keep on fishing around to see where this Fiora is. She has to have gone somewhere. It looks like Kooky Krook will be able to complete the recall here. He'll be able to just teleport back just fine, but some nice trades coming out of that Ornn there. He gets the Bramble Vest completed early on, farms enough to be able to do so. Wow, that was called the Forge God expended. I think Molly...
He just wanted to push the wave. Yeah.
He got it right. He was just a little bit late. He got the right place, wrong time.
That's actually so funny to see. Now no Ornn ultimate, but I'm pretty sure he's guessing that there's no chance for them to be fighting in the top lane anymore. Like at this point, Pura probably beats you in the 1v1, so you just want to try and push it out as hard as possible and then just keep yourself as safe as you can. In the meanwhile though, the bot lane is getting a bit attacked quite heavily, not only with that kill that just went back into Michael, but also the fact that this wave is getting denied really effectively off of the Saya. It's getting pushed back, so she's going to be able to farm it, but she lost quite a bit of minions, so she's going to be really behind from this Kai'Sa.
Yeah, she is. Stepping forward is Zephyros. Max going to trap him in the baby cage, but doesn't get too much damage out of it. Does get the electrocute proc, so farming up a little bit of that AP, but so far it's been a faint CS lead to the Azir. Just gotta feel good in a scaly matchup like this. So far, Max, his last Vigar game was very dominant in that one-on-one. This time, falling behind here to Zephyros.
Yeah, pretty sure it was against the Ari. I think it was from Xiao Danny in the previous matchup, so this time around it's going to get pressured a bit more, but if he gets Ladian, it's going to be all fine. Oh, Mali used W, no.
Yeah, Grand Challenge initiated. Kooky Crew chasing the rest of the way, going for the left side Vital, knowing that that's the only place Mali could block, and does get that heal off. Plenty of damage, but not going to be able to finish out the kill. Still, there's no teleport on this Ornn. He's going to get pressured underneath turret. And this is pretty much all that you really needed if you're Kooky Crew to be able to continue to build up a lead on this top side.
Surprisingly, don't push the issue a bit more there. You have ultimate from the Viego. Now you have ultimate from the Viego, so they could have threatened a bit more. Oh, Max.
Push back in onto Max. Zephyros going for a play, but here comes Dragowski. And the Primordial Burst gonna nearly take him down. Dragowski finishes the job. Now Molly getting engaged on the top side. Back over towards mid, where the stolen away Azir is dishing out plenty of damage. Another reset comes through for Dragowski. Following up now in the form of the Nunu. Gonna have to back away. Can't turret dive with this set of champions, but Kooky Crew got the job done in the top side. It's a 4-1 scoreboard in favor of Return of the Middlesticks.
And not only gets the job done, Gordo, he didn't even use the flash. Oh, wait.
All right, somebody's going to have to flash now as a big engage from Barlow. Pull back in from Boy Wonder with that Magnet Storm, going to chunk them out further, and Dragowski sneaks away with just a sliver of HP.
Dragowski surviving that should have been illegal, but at the end of the day, he doesn't die. Full advantage for the side of Return of the Middlesticks with kills on important targets. Dragowski getting 2, Kooky Crew getting the solo kill up there in the top lane. And in the meanwhile, yes, Saya may have been a bit denied, but she's really close in terms of CS. Nothing was happening. So really good advantage for Return of the Middlesticks. And now with that back though, maybe the opportunity for the Rift Herald to be collected by the Nunu.
Yeah, it looks like he will be able to secure this. Lonzo getting a little bit of gold back into the pockets of Exodia Exiles. They finally get a little bit of breathing space. And, you know, for all the fighting, for all of the advantages that have gone over Middlesticks' way, it really is only about a 1k gold lead. They're doing well on bottom side. They're doing well on CS and mid to keep things up and even. But this lead on Kooky Crew is something you got to be real worried about. I mean, he can just take the fight to Mali right away every time he comes back in lane. Now, a nice riposte on the call, the Forge God. Now there's no ultimate for the Ornn. It's just going from bad to worse.
And guess who's top again, by the way? Dragowski clearing his cross. Wait, Michael. Should be fine.
Yeah, he's out of there. Looks like Lonzo now paying a visit towards topside as well. Both junglers, they take a sniff up there, but they back on away, and there's not going to be too much else to be found.
Yeah, they felt that they need to give a bit more love to top lane, since nobody really cares about top lane, and they were hovering there, but nothing ends up happening. Now they are moving back to their bot side jungle, and in the meanwhile also probably going to force a fight around this second dragon of the game. First dragon, by the way, we didn't talk much about it, but went to the side of Return of the Middlesticks, one of the best individual dragons in the game, and then the second best one, the Infernal Dragon as well.
Yeah, good early Drakes coming through. Middlesticks securing them. Molly trading again with Kooky Crew, and again, Back time, it's going to be 3 out of 4 vital procs, and you know what? That's going to be plenty if you are in the Middlesticks camp. Again, Kooky Kroot going to force this recall, going to crash another wave. Molly does have TP this time, so he'll be able to come back, but that resource going to be out of the pocket of that top laner for the second time, and now not going to be able to come in to contest something like this dragon, as Dragowski is already clearing out vision. Kooky Kroot just looking for a safe recall.
Trying to not force a fight as much as possible, but for the side of Return of Middlesticks, it's already kind of a win. Oh wait, Poppy.
Poppy getting caught out here in the 1-on-2, going to have to use that Featherstorm and the Flash to get away from Lonzo. So a couple of key resources taken off the Middlesticks AD carry, but he's got high enough health. He can still be here. He can still provide an impact.
They're still staying around, but I don't feel like you need to go for it. Oh wait, Max, you're too far forward.
Knocked on up, now going to get hit by the snowball as well. No flash, no mobility, no nothing. Max just trying to farm up the AP, but he will go down as Zephyrat picks up his first kill of the game.
Exactly, really aggressive positioning there by Max, especially after what happened with the other members, and they are going to collapse onto Boy Wonder and Dragowski as well.
Barlow getting some pressure there, zoning away a couple of the remaining members of Middlesticks as Lonzo starting up that dragon, wants to get that one in the Exodia Exiles territory. 4 seconds to go. Max does have TP. Middlesticks doesn't want to give this one up for free. There's going to be a crash on the side. Herald in mid lane. Here's the teleport back from Max. They're focusing on Mako. He gets CC'd down. He's taken down by the Heartbreaker, and now Dragowski's on the resets, taking over that DPS. Now going to move forward onto Barlow. Goes in for a second Heartbreaker and takes him down. A double kill. Goes over to Puppy, and everybody on Exodia Exiles has to head for the hills now as Boy Wonder is looking for Zephyrat to turn it into the full 4 kills, and Kooky Kroot is still brawling with Molly up on the top side, going to get that Pull the Forge God out, and Zephyrat very close to getting scooped back in, and one more kill will do it for Max. 2-8 on the scoreboard, a second dragon over to Middlesticks, and they are well in the driver's seat for this game number 1.
It may be the worst soul you can get, but the rest of the things are really, really good for Return of the Middlesticks. Kooky Kroot doesn't get the soul kill and did have to use his flash in some sort of part of the play, but the value on the rest of the members is massive. You get multiple kills onto your Viego, kill onto your Veigar, kill onto your Sai as well. So much value in a play that was looking so bad for them as well. Remember, teleport had to be used for Max to come back to the play. I don't think Kooky Kroot should get a kill here, so I'm not expecting anything to happen, but Featherstorm, heal, and flash was used before that play. Max died, and they still committed for it and were able to win the overall play. Oh no, I think Barlow should be alone here. Yep.
Yeah, Barlow very caught out, doesn't have the Unbreakable Will. Ooh. Almost has the flash back up. He's got it now. He could expend it to try to get away. Primordial Burst, one more kill will do it. Max, another kill in the bank. More AP to keep stacking up that AP. And now going to move on forward to finish off this turret with the rest of the team. It's a 4-man squad of Middlesticks on the bottom side of the map. And Mako knows better than to push up into that. He's going to have to hide away and miss out on any farm coming this way. Zephyrat trying to equalize in mid, but it's real tough when Middlesticks controls this much of the map.
Pretty difficult for him, and oh no, he went for the crown build. Oh, that's going to not work that well for you. They get first blood turret down there on the bot side. They also are pushing out Sephiroth from the mid lane. Took quite a bit of damage. Crown is not going to protect you from that much damage from the Veigar. And in the process, they also have Viego on the side. They could actually go for a dive.
Yeah, Dragowski's here. A nice dodge away from Zephyrat. Real pretty moves there with the Shurima shuffle. Gets himself out to safety. Kooky Kroot standing there as well, just kind of cheering on his teammates. He can't really go in for the dive on his own.
Yep.
And Zephyrat actually just navigates out of that with the shifting sands. Very well played.
Really well done there, escaping from the potential dive. Obviously, with champions like Veigar or Viego, it's easier to try and stop a dive from happening because one mess up and they get killed pretty easily. But overall, really well done. Nobody ends up dying in that play, and they control the map so effectively managed by Return of the Middlesticks. They are gaining a lot of vision. There is a couple of wards here and there from Exiles that are finding value, but overall, it's all from Return of the Middlesticks. The control is completely on their side, and they are getting another Herald.
Dragowski starting that one up solo. Oh no, actually, he's got Kooky Kroot with him. And the two of them not much you can do to make them stop an objective once they get it started. If they're at full HP, they could take on all comers, and nobody even gonna get here in time to do any sort of challenge. Ali still pushing up on the top side, now down nearly 30 CS. Kukikruuk doesn't quite have an item completed yet, but once he gets there, this thing's just gonna go from bad to worse, and already at that level 11, has the ultimate available, might just all in here. Really good damage still showing up as, oh, Zephyrot's been caught out by Max. Max nearly takes him down. Lonzo coming in to provide some disruption. Barlow coming in on the river as well. Will they be able to lock down Max? He's going to end up snared here. Channeling Absolute Zero. Here comes the combo, and this is going to be tons of damage onto the little Vygar. Mako, the one who gets handed off the kill. Shut down gold out of the Kai'Sa. That's where you want it.
Again, Max was by himself down there. He still almost killed the Seer and was able to put a good fight against the Nunu by himself. I think he went with the ultimate a bit earlier, and that's why he doesn't get the kill onto the Seer, because Primordial Burst was down in the happening of the fight, and at the end wasn't able to get that kill onto the Seer. But this Vygar, yes, he dies here, he's going to become such a big menace the longer the game goes.
Kukikruuk takes a turret shot there. Maybe going to put a damper on any potential dive expectations, but Middlesticks now, with that bot turret secured for themselves from earlier on, they feel very secure, moving Boy Wonder and Puppey wherever the map desires. Puppey funneling up that gold in the mid lane. Now Boy Wonder paying a visit up towards top. Doesn't have the aftershock, but might fancy himself a dive onto Mali anyway. That's going to be Dragowski clearing out his own blue in the face of multiple members. There's pulverized headbutt combo from Barlow. Do they want to call over Mako here? No, not even going to go for it. They had multiple members, but nobody quite ready to capitalize on this Diego. Puppey going to be the target, though. A flash shuffle, flashback away from Puppey to get out to safety. Now turning it back around on Sephiroth and goes on a killing spree. Max over the wall. A huge three-man event horizon will blow up Mako. And now Barlow, with nowhere to go, is going to go down to Dragowski. Kukikruuk chasing down the jungler. It's all gone sideways for Exodia. His return of the Middlesticks take an easy fight.
That's such a big disaster for Exodia in that play. They were aggressively looking for Dragowski, but the moment that the blast cone was used and they are able to escape, Puppey just uses flash for flash onto the Azir, escapes, saves himself, and then Sephiroth is dead. Oh.
Puppey just standing up in the face of these tanky frontlines, left to take him out. Healing coming from Boy Wonder. He takes down one. He takes down both. The summoner heal. All that Puppey needs to cut down the entire squad of Exodia Exiles.
Yeah, the previous plays were overcommitments. It is simply an outplay by Puppey. Has the damage, has the support, and has the hands to carry out the fight. And they are going to keep on fighting, it seems. Michael needs to be careful, though.
Now, no need to stop. I mean, now the front line's gone, and Kukikruuk will cut through these squishies so quickly. Boy Wonder goes down, though. Here comes Max on the side, just pops the R button to take down the cow, and now it's going to be Sephiroth as the next target. Got to be careful as that crown has been poked off of him, and Kukikruuk is fishing around in the jungle. Doesn't want a 1v2, but he'll take a one-on-one all day, every day if he can find it, and he sees Mako threatening to come into the jungle. Mako, if you step up too far, you are going to get grand challenged very quickly.
I don't even think it. Oh, wait, the flash in. There's no flash for Sephiroth here.
Yeah, dangerous stuff stunned here. It's a big stun comes through. Sephiroth going to get flashed on, and Kukikruuk takes him down.
He still stunned himself. He was waiting for the Event Horizon to fall down, but he went in as soon as he was falling down. He still got stunned. That meant that he was going to die anyway. Pura follows with the flash, and they end up taking the prize there.
That's an off-meta champ diff right there, TDS. If people were playing Vygar every game, that never happens. But it's the fact that Max is bringing it out in this moment that makes the difference. Mali now going to be the next target, taking tons of damage in his attempt at escape. That's going to be the first reset coming through for Dragowski. Now he's the tanky Ornn. He's got damage to take on with Puppey. Another kill comes through, and over the wall, Dragowski wanted that pulverized headbutt combo, but didn't find it.
Really wanted to go for it. With that in mind, though, Baron just spawned. They could technically, with the 2 kills they got, just go for the Baron, and it's looking like maybe that's going to be the case. They have Saya, Viego, and Vygar moving on the side. Kukikruuk doesn't have teleport, though. So if they realize this, they could potentially move into it, but it's actually dying so quickly that I don't think there's ever a chance to try and commit for it.
Yeah, Exodia Exiles are running into the problem that this game has just been accelerated way too fast for them, right?
Yep.
Especially it's Crown build Azir, he doesn't do any damage.
Why?
It's Sunfire Cape Rush Nunu, he doesn't do any damage. It's Ornn and Alistar, they don't do any damage. So you would need to somehow find a way to let Makel hit for a long period of time, but one item Kaisa, that's not that much damage either. So nobody can actually really take down some of the tankier members here. If the whole squad shows up and is just blowing you up, you don't even get a chance to even try.
Molly got deleted by the Vigar. He has no magic resistance. 784 AP. I feel for them.
All right, well, this might be the game-ending push, to be honest, because there's nothing that's going to stop Middlesticks here. They're taking down the topside turret. Lonzo comes in with the snowball. It gets parried away. Max still just hammering on this mid lane turret. They're at least going to get these inhibitors, but what about the follow-up fight? Stun comes through on a Barlow. There's Horizon. He's getting blown up through the ultimate. Now it's going to be Lonzo pulled back in. He goes down the Heartbreaker. Another reset for Dragowski. Both inhibitors fall. Baron buff still at their backs. They do not have to stop this push. 5 versus 3. Starting on the Nexus turret, Dragowski takes a few extra shots. Good snare.
Damage from Michael.
They're using Call the Forge God to kite back. Puppey's still at full HP though, and he is raining in damage and feather.
It's not enough.
Back 2 takes down the top laner, but will drop to Makel. But Zephyrot's fallen on the backside. 4 members make it 3 as Kooky Krook goes down to the turret. Makel is here with Barlow. They do manage to stop one more, and now this 2-man squad, they might have to back away. They wanted the end, TDS. They couldn't quite put it together, but it's getting real rough here for Exodia.
They were really looking for it, but exactly, it's not going to be the case. Max will escape, Boy Wonder will escape, and even though the first game it's going to go a bit longer, it's not going to matter that much in my eyes. I think that at this point, it's so difficult to try and affront what the side of Return of the Middlesticks has. There has to be way too many mistakes, and importantly, the Elder would be the game changer for me. It still will not spawn. They have to wait until that comes up to even be close to try and turn around the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna need to be a couple miracles in a row here. I mean, some big shutdowns picked up by Makel and Zephyrot there. So each of them have their second item now. Nashor's Tooth and Navori Quick Blades done for each. They're still very behind, but at least they can conceivably deal enough damage to kill some targets now. But it's a rough situation. They're down 12k gold. I'm not gonna lie about it. I've already seen one 13k gold come back this week, so I'm not going to say it's completely impossible, but it's pretty unlikely.
I don't believe much in them. It's not like it's impossible, but you talk about damage. I think they will be out damaged at essentially every point that they are going to fight right now. Michael looking aggressive here.
Yeah, Max finding a cute little angle here for the event Horizon, going to try to stop people in this little triangle, and he is going to successfully pick off 2. Molly just gets blown up. That's the tank. That's the strongest member up against this Vigar. He's taken completely out of the fight. Now it's breaking out with Kooky Krook on the backside, trying to chase onto Makel. Gonna have to use that parry to get away, and Boy Wonder is up all alone. Makel's actually gonna get that kill. Kooky Krook gets launched deeper in. Now he's outnumbered. Makel's gonna take him out as well. Lonzo picks up that kill, and they're just focusing objectives while there's still every member of Exodia Exiles on top of them. Puppey gonna be able to finish off Barlow. He's on the backside. This fight is entirely in his hands as Dragowski's starting to reset. The double kill's been picked up for Puppey. Lonzo, the next target. Heartbreaker gonna get flashed away from. Makel's still strong. Throws out one more Void Seeker but can't connect. And 3 members of Exodia Exiles still alive. I think that means the game goes on, TDS.
They will get the last inhib, I think, although Makel can kill them, but he's really low. Yeah, it's going to be the last inhibitor collected by the side of Return of the Middlesticks. Another really crazy fight by them. This should have been such an easy way to end the game, but Makel finds a really great angle. He has a lot of damage, kills Boy Wonder, then Kooky Krook gets put out of position, and he's able to... and they are able to collect the kill onto him. Makel gets really good gold out of those 2 kills. I'm not sure if it's going to be that much though.
Yeah, Middlesticks getting a little happy with it, I'm not gonna lie. It's maybe going a little longer than it needed to, as 2 members are chasing kills, 3 members are chasing turrets. Neither really gets exactly what they were going for, but Max has 1000 AP. So it's gonna nullify a lot of misplays when you have that much damage on your mid laner and some of his abilities are just targeted.
Yeah, that's going to be really difficult, but they are looking for the last push here. They have teleport from behind the but they are going to die, I think.
Yeah, Max is going to be the target on the backside. He just blows up Makel, and that was their best hope. Blown up in an instant by the Primordial Burst. The last two members are coming back just to see their Nexus fall. Barlow goes for the engage to dissuade it further. Triple kill to Puppe, not a quadra.
Yep,
Kuki steals it away. The ace is picked up for Middlesticks, and that's all that she wrote for game number 1. Return of the Middlesticks. Strike first in the lower finals.
Really great game by Return of the Middlesticks. There was good chances by Exiles in how the game went, but realistically, it was so well controlled, so well done by them. They managed each situation out really, really well. And when they grabbed the lead, they never let go of it. I think they had a couple of fights, like 1 or 2 at the start of the game around the first 10 minutes, where the Dragon fight went so well for them. They also had the fight before that where they killed the Alistar. They also got a kill for the Fiora really early on. So they were able to snowball a lot of their situation. Plus the fact that they had such a beautiful level 1. I really loved how they played that out. Huge props to whoever played that for them so that they could build on it. Amazing things. And then they built on that for winning the game. Huge game 1. I really liked it.
Yeah, and quite the highlight reel for Puppe as well. I mean, he has multiple plays there where he is kind of solo kiting, and it's really on him to keep his distance, dodge abilities, and dish out damage. Otherwise, some of these fights end up a lot closer, or maybe even Exodia favored. So props to him for what was a really solid performance. He's the damage leader in the game. He's the gold leader in the game, and he comes out with, you know, we don't really award game-by-game MVPs here, but he's my game 1 MVP.
Yeah, he fully deserves it. I think that played really, really well. Had highlights like you're pointing out, and doing the job that the AD carry needs to do. I'm fully behind on it, really. For the game 1 at least. We need to see how the series goes.
Yeah, good stuff there. Well, we've got more matches coming up here. It is a best of 5, so we're going to throw it to a quick break while we get ready for draft in game number 2. We'll be back before too long, so do not go anywhere. We'll see you soon. Welcome back, everybody, to the Aegis Champions League, where we have got ourselves a 1-0 lead for return of the Middlesticks in our lower bracket final. Both these teams fighting for a shot at Mirage Alliance tomorrow in the grand final and a shot at an ACL championship. So far, though, looked like Middlesticks has had the number of the Exiles. Have to see if that continues to be the case coming into this game number 2, where it is still going to be blue side for the Exiles, and they are going to switch up to banning the Xayah.
Are they gonna ban the Nunu? Was it really that big of a problem?
Oh, you know what? I mean, you can adapt. You know, there's never a wrong time to adapt in draft TDS.
Nah.
Just because you won the game. No, they're gonna keep up that Sejuani ban, though. I think that's the right move. I think Sejuani is just a teeny bit stronger than Nunu in the current meta.
Yeah, it would be really weird between if you were willing to give up Sejuani for Nunu, in all honesty. But same bans with the addition of the Xayah first pick Kai'Sa coming through. That means that now Return of the Middlesticks has to look for another 80 carry. But they can keep the rel, they can keep the idea, the initial idea. One thing that we mentioned in the previous game, like with the rel, is that as long as you have self-filling 80 carries, this champion can really shine through because she doesn't have to protect the 80 carry. And there's multiple others that you can try and go for. Ezreal 1, for example, could also be, we were talking about this in the first game, the Caitlyn appearing finally. You have setup with the rel, so you could technically try and play with this buff top Caitlyn.
For sure. Kai'Sa going to be the first lock in as always. This has been, can we just rename this season of the ACL to B1 Kai'Sa? It's been a big aspect of this league, of every league really, for quite a bit of time here. As there's going to be a rumble coming through for return of the Middlesticks. This has been a big pick for Kooky Krook. He's gotten it banned against him a whole bunch in recent weeks. Got some big wins up against CCG on the pick. Got his 2-0 against UMN on back-to-back games on the pick. And since then, it's been real difficult for him to actually get his hands on it. Water Buffaloes were banning it away. CCG started banning it away. And now he's going to get a shot on it again here up against Exodia, who so far are just running back their draft. They got the Kai'Sa, they got the Alistair. Let's see if they are going to take one again. But there's the Aatrox in the top lane. Has been a big pick for Ricky LaFleur all season. Let's see how Molly is going to be able to do on it.
Going to be really interesting seeing how it's going to perform. And that was the thing that I was kind of worried with the Rumble pick. Second pick Rumble is not that typical because too early can be answered really well, and I'm really curious if it's going to end up biting back the side of Return of the Middlesticks. That being said, it is quite consistently banned onto Kooky Krook, like you were pointing out, so they are trying to secure it as soon as possible to try and find value up there in the top lane. On the other side, they still secure the Viego as well for Return of the Middlesticks, so a bit of their core already secured, just like in the previous game, with the addition of the Rumble, a huge amount of magical damage there. The Aatrox here, I'm kind of curious if they can try and flex him out as well. I know that it's not as popular, but you can technically still play the Aatrox in the mid lane, again, in certain matchups. So it could be a thing that we may be able to see. But in the top lane, feels to be the more typical place that we're going to find the Aatrox. And this game, it feels like that as well.
Definitely the case here. Viego is going to be the lock-in, so pretty close to the salty run back. I mean, we got a little bit of changes here and there, so, you know, not too close. But Dragowski on the Viego again had such a good game in game number 1, and now going to be paired up with that Rumble out of the top lane, choosing to put high priority on that pick now that it's become available. I think it was banned away in game number 1. No, it was the Talia actually in game number 1, but still looking to keep that option open. And with that AD in the jungle, I do wonder if that Talia is going to be something they look towards. It was such a good pick for Max throughout this playoffs run. They've loved to have that kind of global pressure to come and set Puppey ahead in the bottom lane. And, you know, Puppey has now lost access to that Xayah. Also lost access to Tristana as they banded away on their side. Can't get on the Kai'Sa. So he's going to be on maybe a tertiary pick. They might want to be able to give him that support out of mid lane. Looking at the Varus, looking at the Ezreal, some longer range pokey picks to maybe try to make Kai'Sa's life difficult. It's looking like they're going to lock in that Varus, and it does come through.
They have now really good pick potential with that Varus, plus the fact that he can go either with the AP build, attack speed build, or the lethality build. Almost everything works with the Varus, and you can find a lot of value thanks to that. On the other side, hovering the Nocturne. So I'm not against the Nocturne here because you already have quite a bit of dive on the side of Exiles. Like the previous 3 champions already defined dive. Now you have the Nocturne on top of it. Paranoia going to play a huge factor in this game because if you turn the lights down, engage from the rail, and follow up from the Rumble can be really difficult to accomplish. Really like the initial idea here, and I think they can close it out with maybe something like Yone, for example, can dive really well with the team, or if they want to, play a bit more defensive, Oriana could be the thing, but it's instead going to be the LeBlanc. Not fully against it, but this is quite a dive-heavy composition that they drafted for themselves.
Yeah, for sure. The LeBlanc is locked in mid lane. Now going to be a lot more pressure, I would say, put on to Zephyrat with all the substitutions coming on through here. They've got the same carries that they're used to. You got to believe they're going to choose to put a little bit of that weight on their shoulders. See how that LeBlanc matchup's going to work, but it is a blind LeBlanc. What is Max going to take into it? Looking at the Ahri, you know, normally I associate Max with picking some of the off-meta stuff, especially when he gets counter-picked like this, but he's just going to go right back to the source. He's going to take that Ahri. Been a big pick all season for everybody in this league, and going to run it into the LeBlanc now.
Really interesting decision there to take the Ahri here. Going to be effective against the LeBlanc until a certain point, and trying to play that mid lane 2v2 duo with the Viego can be really effective as well. That being said, I'm kind of scared for the Ahri here because even though she has escape mechanisms thanks to her ultimate and the flash, she can be killed quite easily if she's really caught out of position. And I think something like the Syndra or the Talia to try and keep yourself with your Varus and try and provide support for him in the meanwhile, denying the potential engage from the enemy team could have been a bit more valuable for them. But the Ahri is going to be the pick, and they are going to really heavily try to pick through that pick potential, and also the fact that they have quite a bit of burst damage on their side.
Definitely. Quite an interesting draft here coming in from both sides. I like the Nocturne selection for Exodia Exiles especially, but it's not the kind of comp that we see Nocturne with a lot, right? A lot of the Nocturnes we see, they're paired up with something like the Nico, who can really take big advantage of that paranoia to come in and find some real big engages. This time around, he's kind of just on his own. I mean, he's going to have the Aatrox and the LeBlanc and the Kai'Sa all going in with him, as well. You know, everybody's diving in this composition, so it is a little bit more of a traditional dive comp, but that kind of more set duos with the mid lane not really going to be present this time around with the LeBlanc in mid.
Could have been a bit better for them if they were able to draft around it, but I think for the idea of the comp, probably that was a sacrifice that they were willing to give, right? You lose out on a bit of that early pressure that you're able to find in those 2v2s with the LeBlanc and any other jungler, for that mid-game power spike with the paranoia, plus also the assassination attempts that you can go for. And it's not like it's impossible for them to work together. You can go for a roam with a blank with having Nocturne hovering on the side close enough that you can make use of the semi-global paranoia value. And then side lane pressure is going to be even better for the side of Exiles this game particularly, because you cannot go and contest to any of the Aatrox or LeBlanc by yourself. Anytime that happens, Nocturne has a possibility to just use Paranoia on the side lane and make a 1v1 into a 2v1 really, really effectively.
For sure. For sure. So counting down now in the in-client draft, I mean, not a whole lot of potential flex picks coming on through here. So everybody just being locked in exactly where we expect it. Everybody still the same, no addition, none of the starters back for Exodia Exiles from game number 1. So definitely going to look to see if they can turn things up with Mali now going to be on a bruiser in game number 1, and with a lot of really powerful ganks here. I mean, if Nocturne LeBlanc can come out of mid lane, maybe even pair up with that Alistair coming out of bot, can really bully something like a Rumble on the top side. So I really want to see if they can make something happen up against the aggressive play style that Kukikrut was showing in game number 1, because if he spends all game sitting outside of Mali's turret the way that he did on that on that Fiora in game number 1, you can really punish that here. And I feel like this is a draft from Exodia that really feels like set up to do that. It could be set up to do that.
Exactly. Trying to be a bit more punishing, it's going to be a bit better for them, because they fell behind last game. They didn't find angles, and they couldn't really do anything to try and turn around the game. Even with a couple of plays that were a bit too over-aggressive by the Return of the Middlesticks side, they really never find the punishing potential with their comp. This time around, a bit more aggressive of a comp, a bit more of a say when they want to make things happen. The event horizon is not going to play a big part in denying them, and they also have tools to try and thread separate from the rest of the team, which is something that in the previous game we didn't have much, right? It was mainly go for team fights, and your composition should team fight better. But since team fights were never that prevalent because Cookie Crook was just completely controlling whatever Mali was trying to accomplish on the side lane, then it was just so easy for Return of the Middlesticks to try and play out their game.
It really was. It really was. And they built up leads in multiple lanes, right? It wasn't just about the top lane. Their bot lane was able to be really successful. Puppe had some big plays. Now they've taken some agency away from him, though. Now he's on the Varus. It can be really strong in the laning phase. It can be real dangerous with those pokey arrows, especially if he's going for more of a lethality adjacent build. But it can't do the self peel the way the Xayah can. And they didn't really draft a lot of other peel for him either, right? It's going to be all on the Rel going in for the engage. Viego's going to be looking for resets. Ari's going to be doing much of the same. Might be an opportunity for you to jump on Puppe. Puppe might be ending up left out to dry a little bit. And now you've drafted yourself a pick for Zephyr in the mid lane that gives him a lot of outplay potential, right? He's not just the Azir playing Farming Simulator up against the Vigar anymore. He's on the LeBlanc. He's playing it into the Ari matchup. Got a lot more skill expression between those two. And if he can build himself up a lead, get really set up for the rest of the map.
Agree. This sort of more proactive style can fit the Exiles that we've seen before a bit better, and also because they are still playing with subs, trying to give them more confidence in maybe picks that they want to play more can be a bit more ideal for them. I want to see how much do they want to commit to Puppe though in fights, because like you're pointing out, it feels like this game should be a really good game to just commit onto Puppe, kill him really heavily, and find a lot of value through that. But again, another thing that the Return of the Middlesticks did really well, equal to the previous game, is the fact that they drafted multiple champions that can carry through the game. Ari, if she builds damage, can be a really big menace. Viego builds damage. Every reset counts in a fight. So if you do die on a random position, that can be game or fight winning for the set of Return of the Middlesticks. And then Rumble, we all know Rumble. Huge amounts of damage. Easy to kill, but huge amounts of damage. And if you focus everything on one target specifically, like Puppe, which I won't argue, it feels like this is the game to kill the AD carry, but maybe because it's so obvious that you have to kill the AD carry this game, the other members can try and shine through.
It really is, and we'll see. I mean, we've seen some big pop-outs from a lot of members of this team so far, from Middlesticks especially. I mean, they had a really solid top performance in game number one. Dragowski, I think, has really been becoming unleashed as a carry throughout this lower bracket run. And he really showed it on the Viego in game number one. He's on multiple double-digit kills games in a row, I believe, because he had that Viego in game number one, and then he had that huge Lilia game in game number three last Friday. So he's keeping up the streak. Let's see if he can make it 3 for 3 now.
Maybe he's able to accomplish it. And I would be willing to bet one of the junglers that have given the surprise, and I'm excited to keep on seeing. Hopefully we get a really good matchup into the grand finals if they are able to get there. And I think one of the junglers to really accomplish that would be Dragowski with how he's performing. Don't want to take away anything from Exiles just yet. There's still quite a bit of the Bo5 that could end up turning around, especially if they get their subs or their starters back. Could be a good turnaround just in case, but as of now, it's looking really poised for Return of the Middlesticks to not only look strong, but take the second game of the series.
Yeah, I mean, they looked so good in game number one. It is going to be a tough task to see if Exodia Exiles are going to be able to strike back here. They have had such a solid season, though, barely dropping any games. I mean, they in their playoffs, right? It's been all sweeps all day long. I keep talking about it. 2-0 over Middlesticks in the upper bracket, 2-0 over no AoE damage in the upper bracket, and then dropping, of course, to Mirage, as many a team has throughout this season. They've Mirage has dropped very few games in their own right. They're kind of a different beast, but Return of the Middlesticks and Exodia Exiles, both off of such dominant runs ever since their losses, or, I mean, prior to their losses, if you're Exodia Exiles, now facing off against one another, and it's really been Middlesticks so far who has come out on top. Of course, plenty more League of Legends left to play. We are still only in game number 2, and there's still an opportunity for Exodia Exiles to tie everything up. Does look like we are onto the Rift now for game number 2. We can transition on in here as Exodia Exiles are looking to face off up against Return of the Middlesticks for the second time tonight.
And will they be able to accomplish just another really great thing that we haven't talked? Well, we talked quite a bit, but we haven't really mentioned how good that is, right? The fact that they've been able to go through multiple BO3s and BO5s, winning straight games, and now they are potentially going to get another straight game win if they win the second game. They would be on the cusp of going unbeaten on the lower bracket and reaching grand finals unbeaten. That's not something we've had previously on the ACL.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not. It's been a real dominant run. Definitely going to be an undefeated. Yeah, going to be an undefeated Mirage Alliance, at least for their playoffs run, coming into this final. We'll see. I mean, Exodia Exiles, they got 3 games against them last week. They did not manage to take any of them, but they certainly had some fairly close ones. You know, it wasn't like it was complete blowouts. They're definitely going to want their second shot here. Middlesticks, I don't believe, has played Mirage Alliance at all, or at least if they did, it might have been in like the cross group stage. So really wouldn't have been too many games. Yeah, they played back in week 6 cross group and got 2-0'd, but they've had a lot of time since then. Would definitely like to get a second opportunity here in the grand finals.
Yeah, I would like to believe Mirage Alliance from week 6 and Middlesticks from week 6 are 2 different teams, namely Mirage Alliance being better and Middlesticks as well. So certainly going to be a really interesting matchup if we do get up there. And I believe we had last week the talk with the members from the Return of the Middlesticks side, and they are a team that feel that if they are able to win here, they can take the fight onto Mirage Alliance.
Yeah, for sure. As they are going to be starting off game number 2 here. Going to be a blue side start for Lonzo, a red side start for Dragowski. Both going to be clearing towards that bottom side, seeing if they can have an influence. Level 2 hit by Makel and Barlow first, as they are going to trade back onto Puppe. Boy Wonder going to take a fair bit of poke as well.
Boy Wonder going in once again, gets to level 2 now a bit earlier from Puppy, but still they took quite a bit of a trade, and now Michael and Barlow once again having control of the bot lane, something we saw in the previous game, but because of how the level 1 was set up by the side of Middlesticks, they were able to capitalize on that over pushing and were able to punish it. Now it's not going to be the case. That's a lot of damage.
A lot of damage for sure. Cookie Crook, been a big fan of this Rumble over the last couple of weeks of the playoffs, has really made it his own and made it a pick that needs to be respected up against him. Didn't get respected this time. Didn't get respected in game number 1 either. And Cookie Crook had the counter pick, so instead deciding to go for that Fiora. This time they blind it, they get the counter pick over to Max. Let's see what they can do on it as they take level 4 first with that big wave crashing in and continue to just harass Molly as much as they can.
Molly's not really having a good time down here in the up here in the top lane, losing out on a couple of minions, having to be really careful about how the trades will go against this Rumble. Cookie Crook does take a turret shot, so at the very least you're able to trade well, and Youngers are both on bot side, which means that this top lane is going to be just a 1-on-1.
Yeah, and now here comes Dragowski, going to be a full-on 3-on-3 on the bottom side. Mid laner's coming down. Zephyrock going to be the first one moving. That means Boy Wonder and Puppe, they've got to head for the hills here. They take a fair bit of harass, but they will be able to get back underneath the turret.
Yeah, this area was getting pushed on the turret, which meant that they couldn't force a fight. I think they were Return of the Middlesticks was looking aggressively for the potential fight, but they were simply clearly not in position to try and contest it, and that's why we see the flash burned by Dragowski down there. Really good collapse and really nice capitalization by the side of Exiles. They are also going to get the second Scuttle Crop, so good advantage for them.
Yeah, double Scuttle for Alonzo, and that's going to be a good little bit of XP that you want to get into this Nocturne. Molly going solo up against Cookie Crook, trying to turn it back around, but the tower aggro is not hitting that side yet. He just flashes in, though, trades for the first blood. He knows he's going down one way or the other. He's going to make it a gold lead to return to the Middlesticks.
Yeah, ends up getting the solo kill, which is the most important part, and then dies to the turret, so doesn't give anything to the Nocturne. Really nicely played there by Cookie Crook, although he did fail one of the harpoons, which made the kill a bit harder to get. But at the end, the first blood, more value to you, and then also the fact that the Aatrox now has no flash. Ooh, really nice there.
Really nice sidestep there by Boy Wonder, avoiding the pulverize. Doesn't really do too much for the trade, but it's not all over yet. Level 4 ticked by Makel, and Puppe already blew his cooldown, so he's not looking to do too much else for now. Cookie Crook still channeling that flame spitter in the top lane, getting as much damage onto Molly as he can. Utilizing that first blood gold, he just comes back to lane with sorcerer's shoes. He wants the movement speed, he wants the magic pen, and he wants to keep on trading.
100% doesn't want to let up on the pressure, and now with Equalizer could maybe look aggressive for the kill here before Molly hits at level 6 as well.
Yeah, he'll definitely want to do that if he can. He's already got himself a substantial CS lead. It'll get equalized a little bit when the wave crashes in, and we're actually going to go to a pause here for a second. Oh, never mind, we're out of it. All right, good stuff, guys. We resolved the issues quick here.
Exactly. We don't let you wait long for good games. Although we will have the small pause after the pause, but it's going to come back soon enough. But nothing big. The game will go on, and we're going to see even more blood, which is something that we had in the previous game, right? The fact that there were so many kills, even though Exiles were really far behind, they still fought. And Return of the Middlesticks are not shy to trying and fighting as much as possible.
Yeah, they definitely are not here. As little screen freeze gonna be done with here. Cookie Crook currently overheated as level 6 is ticked by Molly. Now multiple members of Middlesticks paying a visit towards the bottom side. Mako going to be the target. He blows the cleanse early to try to run away, but the ignite is ticking, and he's got Boy Wonder right on top of him. Here comes Dragowski for the chase down, and meanwhile Puppey just raining arrows into Barlow. He's actually going to be the first one to fall, and that's 2 more to Middlesticks on the bottom side.
I would have liked to see them give the kill to the Ari in that play, just because they did force the move. Oh wait, Cookie Crook.
Big trade by Molly, does pop the World Ender, but he's already blown on his cooldowns. Now they're coming back on up. One more round of Darken Blades could do it, but the burn from the torch is just gonna crush him. Cookie Crook takes down for a second solo kill.
What's a puny sword to a flamethrower, Gordo? Really, what is up with that? They cannot fight at all. The flamethrower isn't off, and they get another solo kill. The Rumble will even push the wave. No teleport on Molly means that they are going to lose out on multiple minions. And it's just so painful for the Aatrox at this point. They not only lose the top lane fight, they lose on the bot lane fight as well. And they get the dragon as well.
Cookie Crook really bringing the pain this series, and he is now farther ahead in the lane where Molly got counterpick than he was in the matchup where he got counterpick. So it's looking real dangerous for the top side of the Exodia Exiles. Boy Wonder getting a little engaged on here by Barlow. He's going to take a bit of a trade, but can just crash down away. Shouldn't be too much other action there, but something has to be done about the top side. They need to bail Molly out of this matchup, as Cookie Crook is just going to keep on doing this. Ooh, another double knockup though found by Barlow. Boy Wonder going to return fire back onto Mako, and Puppey has a good setup here to just continue on to rain down those arrows. Stepping forward now, has the lethal tempo stacked up and is just raining back into Barlow. Crash down again, gonna get flashed away by Mako, but doesn't put him in a position to hit Puppey. We're gonna keep on freezing here. Love what the pauses do to the client in this day and age, as both pot lanes will escape from one another.
Flash is expended from both bot lanes. They use it to try and re-engage, escape, or make a play try and be happen down there. But at the end, nobody dies. Puppey was really aggressive with how he was trying to position. Maybe if he hits level 6 here, he goes for the Chain of Corruption play.
True, would definitely be quite the Puppey maneuver. He's been one to go for these sorts of aggressive plays. He ticks level 6, but 6 is ticked by Mako as well. That Killer Instinct shield going to be a little dangerous. Lands the Void Seeker as well, but here is a 2-on-2 on the top side. There's going to be the Paranoia pop diving on in onto Molly, but Molly going to be the target here. They're trying to set up for a reset from the Viego, turning targets back on Alonso. He avoids the Heartbreaker and trades back. There's a kill given over to Zephyron. Cookie Crook trying to turn it back onto Molly. Will end up going down, and Molly gets himself out of the equalizer to stay alive. It's a 2-for-0 in the top side. Exodia Exiles get themselves on the board.
Yeah, huge play, and the difference there, the fact that you have a mid laner moving around for the play. Lonzo doesn't get the Q hit.
You're a madman, dude. He's chasing off Lonzo, but I don't know if there's anything else to be gained there. It does expend the ignite to force him out of his jungle.
I respect the attempt. If he hits the Q, that's a kill. But at the end, doesn't matter. They don't collect the kill onto the Nocturne, and it's just simply an advantage for Exiles. Huge move, huge play, good execution. And I'm kind of curious, was Cookie Crook holding the ultimate, or was it on cooldown? Because I don't understand why not use it at the start of it when Diego was going in for the kill.
He overheated right away, but I'd have to see a replay.
Yeah, because I'm also thinking, when the Viego went in for the kill onto the Nocturne, was he overheated as well? That's the thing I'm trying to think about. Oh, Michael.
Max making a little play on a Mako here. That's already the killer instinct used. And now Boy Wonder coming in for the crash down. Nice interrupt by Barlow. Going to buy his ADC some more time, but it just doesn't matter. Max has all the damage he needs. You don't need the Rel to hold him in place. Max hunts him down, takes down a second kill up against Mako, and now it's going to be 1-0-2 as he returns to mid lane.
Both mid laners really are trying to make the most in the map. They are moving around, they are trying to make plays happen, they are trying to find a lot of value. Boy Wonder, that's not the spawn you want to be in.
Getting chased down, doesn't have crash down quite yet. He does have the backup of Dragowski, but that chain's gonna detonate. The shield does a little bit, but he will go down. Zephyros picks up that kill. Max might not be done though. He doesn't have the spirit rush, but just wants a little bit of a trade onto the LeBlanc. Pulverized headbutt into the paranoia. They're focusing everything onto Dragowski, and he will drop another kill to Zephyros. 3-0-1 on the LeBlanc. We talked about him.
They have vision here.
He's really starting to do it now in game number 2.
Yeah, Poppy, there was vision there. Poppy needs to be careful. He's going to be able to escape. Cookie Crook will collect some of the farm, or actually just push away the LeBlanc. But Exiles are finding plays that they can actually not only force, but find a lot of value from. Sephiroth as well on the mid lane. This LeBlanc has looked so much better than the Assyrian in the previous game and has actually been able to find a lot of value. Even though Max has also tried and move around, the counter pick by him hasn't worked out that great compared to the previous game.
Yeah, it really has not. Now, setting up here, Ali going to be focused in on too, but Cookie Crook already going down. The World Ender's been popped, and Ali wants to go in for this trade, it feels like. Doesn't land the first Arcane Blade though, and that pretty much nullifies your Aatrox engage right off the bat.
Yeah, nothing ends up really happening there. It just feels like Molly wants to go or answer effectively onto the Rumble, but simply doesn't find the right opportunity to make it happen. Even with what happened up there in the top lane. Ooh, Max.
Oh, Max going to be engaged on and taken down. Zephyros with the solo bolo. He is getting stronger and stronger and really is that big carry force. As Molly forces a flash on the top side. Cookie Crook really starting to lose control of this matchup now as he's gone down a couple of times. And it's Exodia Exiles starting to turn this series on its head, having a really solid game number 2 so far. Now moving forward, Molly going to be the next target, turning it back towards Cookie Crook as he stepped up too far. He's going to go down to the minion damage.
No, the minion killed him.
Now it's Dragowski trying to reset, but the turret damage is going to force him back. Molly got himself another kill now as they're starting off onto the dragon on the bottom side. It's coming up Exodia Exiles across the entire map.
Yeah, Return of the Middlesticks is not respecting what Exodia can and will do. They are forcing fights in really weird spots. Even though Molly was the one that forced so heavily before, we just panned back to top lane out of nowhere. Molly's willing to trade because Cookie Crook wanted to use Equalizer for who knows why. It doesn't get it, it's not even close to where Molly was. And then ends up dying by mispositioning himself. Really bad giveaway, especially because they were controlling everything in the map. Now the control is completely given up.
Yeah, I know. I mean, completely turned on its head. Previously, it was really Cookie Crew dominating this topside matchup, but as Molly has gotten a little bit more items completed, gotten himself a couple more levels, has really started to turn it back around, really finding himself some great trades here, and now pretty close in itemization. It's just Boots 2 and some components for both members. And meanwhile, look at how strong Zephyros getting. He's got 2 more longswords, TDS. What do you think those are going to be?
Wait.
Paranoia coming through on a Cookie Crook. He still has no flash. His Rumble's going nowhere. Molly picks up the kill.
So there's absolutely no reason for Cookie Crook to be there. Deserves to be killed. In all honesty, deserves to die. Now, LeBlanc, what she could opt here for could be Trinity Force. Could be another or another no. Static doesn't build.
A second static shiv on top of the first static shiv.
Would be hilarious to see. I was thinking a seal item. Rapid fire cannon. Does it build off of this? It's what I'm trying to think because I don't remember 100%.
Yeah, it still builds out of Noon Quiver, does it not? Maybe it does.
Because if that's the case,
I might be completely crazy. No, I was thinking not Noon Quiver, Kirche's Shard. Yeah, it's Kirche's Shard Zeal Longsword. So there's 2 longswords in that.
Yeah, could be the rapid fire cannon as well to try and get more range off of with the static shift. But I would be willing to believe it's just the Trinity. It's either Trinity Force or also just having it to amplify your auto attack damage for now, and then when you want to go for an action item, you sell them.
Could be Storm Razor too, I suppose, for the slow auto and the faster charge time. This is crazy though. This feels like a build from a past version of Static Shiv, not the modern Static Shiv that's been heavily nerfed. But I mean, Zephyrot's cooking, and he's 4-0-2, so he's earned the right to cook.
Yeah, not gonna lie, Max so far, this game hasn't been the best coming on him. Oh.
All right, focusing forward. Barlow, again, not going to be able to land the Pulverize onto anybody. Great fancy footwork out of the Middlesticks bot lane. Has been able to really punish this Alistar in the 2-on-2 trades, and why they're doing arguably the best out of the 3 lanes there from Middlesticks. Kugikrook continues to fall behind. Max has lost his mid lane turret now, and it's about a 2.5 gold lead over to the side of Exodia Exiles.
It really deserves so with the plays that they were able to force and make happen. They were really committed to trying and play through their jungle when he hit Paranoia. So as soon as Paranoia was hit, they were committed to playing with him, forcing plays in top lane, moving around with the LeBlanc, and that's why the gold lead now is in their favor really effectively. It is Trinity Force. So it was either going to be holding it or go for the Trinity Force. There's a lot of out attacks going to come through from the LeBlanc.
Based AD LeBlanc here in the ACL lower bracket finals. Love it coming out of Zephyrot here. Going a new layer in this really important match going forward. Although he's played LeBlanc before, I'm going to be honest, I didn't bother to check if he was building Triforce LeBlanc. So this might not be his first game of it in the ACL. Blame me for my research if you must. But we will have to take a look and see if he's going to just keep on building this if he gets LeBlanc again.
That could be a really interesting thing. I'm more curious as well in if Sephiroth wins this game with this LeBlanc. Do you still go for Ari in a future game? Ari has been really lackluster against this LeBlanc so far. I honestly haven't liked at all Max playing this Ari. Hasn't felt any sort of pressure, hasn't been able to accomplish that much. Moved around well, but he can do that with other champions, not necessarily the Ari. So it just feels like the counter pick wasn't well used.
All right, I took the risk. I went and looked it up. I didn't miss a call, so it's paid off. He did not build the Trinity Force up against no AoE damage last time he played LeBlanc. He picked the Essence Reaver. He went for a much more standard build. So,
being honest, that shouldn't be. He shouldn't have played it before in all reality. So if he actually played it, I would have been more surprised than if he hadn't.
All right, brand new one, brand new technology coming out of Zephyrot here in game number 2, and paying off very well so far. The whole Middlesticks squad is grouping up. A Paranoia is being popped. They want this fight. They dive in onto Kugikrook. He flies over the wall, and now they're standing on the equalizer. It's actually a ton of damage as Barlow's going to be the first target. He gets taken down, but they found their way onto Puppe in the back line. Now focusing down onto Dragowski. He's going to drop. That's another kill going over to Zephyrot. Kugikrook's way out of there, and it's a 2-for-1 fight in favor of the Exiles.
Barris barely dealt damage in that fight. They committed onto the Rumble, and they actually were waiting to try and kill... Oh, Michael should be
diving in there, trying to get something back, but he's going to get punished for it. That's his last Spirit Rush charge. Molly's on top of him, and here comes Zephyrot, landing the chains, ready to take down another target. Dominating on this LeBlanc, 6-0-2. The autos hurt plenty, and they're going to build this up to about a 4K gold lead and get themselves their second dragon.
Yeah, talk about a confidence boost of a game for the side of Exiles, with them not only winning it at this point, but doing so well with their plays. Sephiroth is going to be completely fine here. He's actually going to go back and just get a bit of harass onto the Rumble. But so far, really well done. Good calls.
This might be solo bolo territory, I'm not gonna lie. All right, misses the ulti distortion, but sets up for Makel, and Makel will get the kills. So still just more and more bullying onto Kugikrook. He is not respecting the pick potential of this Exodia squad, and they are now really in the driver's seat for game number 2, taking another turret topside, and they are on the path to tying up this series.
100%. They are looking really well poised. They have a lot of value, so they can 100% play around it. And I'm not sure what the answers for the side of Return of the Middlesticks out right now. They have to wait at the very least 10 minutes to get a bit more items on their carries. Barris get his mythic, Ari get a second one, Diego get a second one as well, and try and play around that. They also were lucky enough that the Dragon Soul is one of the worst Dragon Souls in the game, essentially, so it's not going to be that impactful if they give it up. But they have to wait before they can finally answer back into Exiles.
They do. They do have to buy themselves some additional time in this match, and so far it's been Exodia who are starting fights on their terms, being able to pop that paranoia and start off what was really just a set 4v4 and coming out huge for it, and now continuing to make picks on players like Cookie Crook as well. Going to be really hard for them to be able to come into objectives like this Baron. Ali and Barlow threatening a jump on a Max here, but they see Dragowski. That plan's bailed on very fast.
That was really quick to be called up. Could have been a really nice attempt, but they were ready to react to it on the side of Middlesticks, and they are now looking aggressive themselves for a potential play. They want to die.
Boy Wonder with the Hex Flash over the wall. Molly going to be the target. Does have that World Ender for the additional healing and movement speed. And yeah, Middlesticks, they call it off. Meanwhile, on the split push,
Boy Wonder may be killed here.
Zephyrat doing very well. Now they're going to move on to Boy Wonder. Yeah, he just gets cut off from the rest of the team. They're going to be able to take him down. Dragowski has to bail on it. Lonzo gets the kill, and look at Zephyrat. He's pushing 2 lanes at once. TDS, he's in bot, he's in mid, he's everywhere, and Cookie Crew can't deal with him.
Dragowski killed Boy Wonder, and after that it's going to be a Baron play. Ooh, that's a lot of damage, but it's not going to be enough to stop them. And Cookie Crew just decides he doesn't care. They are going to come here, they are going to ignore the LeBlanc, and that means that now there's going to be a pretty free inhibitor turret. Oh.
Yeah, Molly getting focused down though. He's the closest thing to a front line they've got when Barlow's already blown that Unbreakable Will. He's got to jump over the wall, and Max has got plenty of Spirit Rush charges to hunt him down. This is going to be another reset for the Viego and the Ari. Can they chase?
Okay, Boy Wonder is here.
Zephyrat still going. Boy Wonder is not the split push answer that you need, and he's going to be able to take down that turret. Now going to be able to move on up towards the inhibitor if he wants it, or is he looking for a TP angle to stop this Baron? Makel running through, throwing out some of those Void Seekers, and Lonzo has that paranoia to enter the pit as needed. Dives forward a little bit early. 2k gold, or 2k HP rather, on the Baron. Now down to 1.7. They've already taken down the jungler. It's another reset for Dragowski, who does successfully smite down the Baron and pick up the objective bounty. But now what can Zephyrat clean up on the other side? There's multiple members walking around here. A low HP Dragowski among them, but he's just going to have to focus on a Boy Wonder. Magnet Storm comes on through, but Makel's still hovering in on the top side. What can they find now? Dashing forward, they just have to give it up. Nothing else going to present itself. Middlesticks stays clumped together, and they keep each other safe.
And at the end, that turns into such a good play for Return of the Middlesticks, because not only did they get the Baron buff, they collected 3 kills. They forced the teleport out of Sephiroth, which means that now the split pushing threat going to go down by just a tiny bit, but at the very least better than what it was before. And they got really good gold into their carries. Second item for Ari, for Viego, and for the Barris as well. This means that now they have a bit more potential power to fight against the side of Exiles and try and contest this dragon if they really want to. I wouldn't go for it, but at the very least they have more strength.
It's just Chemtech Drake. It's not the strongest soul in the world
at all,
but could definitely still be something that you want to be fighting over, as the poke damage is coming on through from Zephyrat. This is a teleport channeled by Max. 5 men strong now.
They want to fight
the
it.
Middlesticks squad. They want this dragon. They're moving down for it. They're taking control. Zephyrat is still looking for the poke, but he's got Hullbreaker, by the way. He's Hullbreaker LeBlanc.
This is such a weird game to be actually looking out for here, with the LeBlanc just going a split push and out attack based. In all reality though, this is just the after effect of having that item.
He's going for it. He's on the split push duty, and I mean, what can Middlesticks do? Cookie Crook's in the back trying to respond. Are they going to engage this 4v3? Doesn't look like they can really find it. They're going to start off the dragon, but they're side lanes. I mean, they've lost the bot side inhibitor. They might lose top inner now. Nobody's responding to Molly up there. And they've got all the coverage in the world. They've got Makel there. They've got Lonzo there. Makel's just here to help out with the turret. They're going to be able to take out a top side inner turret and a bot side inhibitor for Drake number 2. I take that trade all day, every day.
And all that for a Chemtech Drake. Like I cannot just express that everything that they just lost was for a Chemtech Drake. It's actually hilarious to think about it, but great trade by the side of Exiles, finding so much value in the play. They get multiple objectives in their favor, and importantly, they also deny the Baron essentially. It's still up, but they cut a lot of the duration by quite a bit just because they weren't able to go onto any of the turrets that are still standing, and they are not going to get any of the gold that is standing on the map.
Yeah, and I mean, you take that trade deal on uneven terms, right? They didn't know how much they were giving up when they went for that dragon, and maybe they regret it a little bit now at this point. So going to be a huge lead given on over here towards the side of the Exiles. Still about 4k gold in the lead. Objective bounties off the map, though, as they tie up the dragon count.
And now what can Middlesticks really try and find or achieve? Once again, it's just going to keep on pushing, and someone has to go and answer him, because if not, it's going to be impossible to get any sort of opportunity to win the game for Middlesticks.
Ooh, flash forward for Max. They are looking for Sephiroth, but he is gone. They pop the Paranoia just to give him a little bit of support, and he's out of there.
And Paranoia may have been used, but the flash for just the Paranoia, it's a trade you take every day of the week by the side of Exiles. They don't have an answer for the LeBlanc at this point, and it's really looking harsh on them. Honestly, I don't know how this is working from Sephiroth, but it's simply just there's no answer.
No answer available at all. I mean, this is not a team that's built to really respond to split push too much. I mean, their best target would be Max, and he is not winning that 1v1. He hasn't been winning that 1v1 all game long. So it's been very difficult for them to actually find a good response to Sephiroth, and he has had great control over these side lanes, especially with that hull breaker now completed. So tanky, so difficult to really disrupt. 4 members of Middlesticks coming on up here to try to respond. Barlow going to be the target, just pops the Unbreakable Will. They're looking for the fight here. Teleport now being channeled by Kuki, also being channeled by Molly, but he's going to be a little bit late to the party. Boy Wonder is the target, but Barlow going to drop first. Puppe gets a kill onto the Nocturne, a double kill for Puppe. The first reset is set on up for Dragowski, and he is coming back on over with that Heartbreaker. Molly now going to be his next target. Sephiroth is so low and does not want to give up this shutdown. He's teleporting across the map.
Oh no!
Owned by Dragowski and taken down for the reset. Molly now going to be the next target, and that's 4 kills to Middlesticks for just Boy Wonder's life. They are fighting their way back.
And just where it seemed where there was no answers to how to try and answer to the LeBlanc split pushing, they find such a crucial fight on the side. It was a fight that honestly shouldn't have been started. It was forced onto the side of Middlesticks, trying to collapse into Boy Wonder, but immediate reflexes by him to start the fight, teleport by Cookie in a perfect spot, and importantly, Paranoia was down. Remember the Paranoia that saved LeBlanc in the previous play? Guess what? This time around, it's not up. That means that you can actually not use it in the fight, not deny the engage, and Middlesticks played that fight as well as they could. Huge amounts of damage by Puppe as well, by the way. Nobody attacked him, so he just out-attacked till death. And he didn't even die.
Did not even go down. Huge moves by Puppe here. He's now 7-1-2 on this Varus, and he is where most of the eggs are stacked for the side of Return of the Middlesticks, as this game is now within 500 gold. TDS, an incredibly tight match here. So right back to that split push duty is Sephiroth, and if he can't split push his way all the way to a Nexus, it's starting to really get unfavorable for Exodia Exiles.
It's not over here. They can actually go for the Baron. Yeah, Sephiroth needs to come up walking. He has no teleport. Oh, the engage.
Ooh, the ulti in from Lonzo, focusing forward onto Kooky Krook. He's going to end up going down. Lonzo gets that first kill. Now following up, 4 members left for Middlesticks. Molly already starting off the fight with the World Ender. Dive in with the Heartbreaker. The reset.
Molly's alive.
Puppe going to go godlike, but it's going to get traded back there. Makel popping off on the Kaisa, still untouched, still dancing around the fight. But another reset comes through for Dragowski, and he gets melted down by the Acathian Rain. It's going to be Max now, heading out towards the bottom side, and Sephiroth chases him down with the chains, going to hold him in place, and he's just auto-attacking down the Ahri. The split push LeBlanc, popping off in the 1-on-2, moving forward onto Boy Wonder, and there's nowhere for this Rel to go. Sephiroth's gonna pick himself up a double kill, and that's an ace to the Exodia Exiles.
That shouldn't have worked so well for them at all. But what was Cookie Crew thinking? Why not go with your team? Why go with for the Kaisa? And that spot, there's never, and I cannot repeat myself enough, never a chance that you actually kill the Kaisa in that spot. It was not going to work out, and it doesn't work out. It just baits the team into an awful fight, and at the end, Exiles find the fight that they wanted after such a horrific fight inside of the enemy jungle. They turn around such a bad situation, and now secure Baron, finally trying to break the base even more. Maybe take down the inhibitor once again, maybe open up a couple more inhibitors, but this is the spot where they wanted to be in the game.
And, you know, I have to highlight Zephyros in that fight because he was the one who ended up cleaning it up. But huge props to Michael there, finding a great position on the Kaisa, continuing to dish out damage, keeping himself incredibly safe the whole way through, and really denies what could have been a crazy reset chain for Dragowski.
Bo5 is taking so much poke damage. There is paranoia once again, so actually they can force this if they really want to. It's going to be free Dragon Soul, but the inside track for the base, it's much better for the side of Exiles.
It really is, and they're marching forward with the Baron buff at their backs, looking to start off onto that mid lane inhibitor turret. Molly is going to be the front line, trying to dissuade them from entering on the side. Here comes the equalizer, lands on Alonso. Alonso going to get forced back while Molly goes in. Molly goes down to Puppey. Puppey's pretty safe on the backside, but it's Zephyros raining in the damage from within Middlesticks' own base. It's Max is the next target as he dashes back up the wall and is forced out of the fight, but that's a double kill picked up by Michael. It's a 1-for-3 trade. The teleport coming on back. Kooky Krook and Max have got to find a way to make a stand. It's only Kooky Krook for now as the first turret falls. The second coming soon as Max is still channeling the recall. He rejoins, but he's 1 versus 4. And Exodia Exiles tie us up at 1-1.
That shouldn't have happened. I'm gonna be honest, that game shouldn't have worked that well for Exiles, but they find the place that they needed and they carry on in a really effective manner. Huge props to how the players played that out. And the last engage, I have to critique. Boy Wonder, you have flash. Just flash over the wall and engage. The fight starts with an equalizer. Like, why? Doesn't make sense. You have the Rel, one of the best engaged supports with ultimate, and they still don't engage with it. It just doesn't make sense to me at that point. But the game for Return of the Middlesticks, huge night and day compared to the first one. The first one was much more controlled, much better fought, still weird fights here and there, but they knew what they wanted to do. But in this second one, kind of separated from the plays that they wanted to pull off, not respecting the value that Exiles had in their team comp, and then the fights were almost always in favor of the side of Exiles. Huge props to them to how they played, and huge props to Sephiroth. Massive performance on the blank in a game that they really needed to win.
Definitely, as you know, what was starting off as a really good early lead to Middlesticks just all ends up going sideways. We highlighted Zephyros as a player who could potentially pop off and bring this team back in, especially when he's short a couple of his usual teammates, and he does it in spades in this game number 2. A huge LeBlanc performance, and this split push LeBlanc is now a pick that you have to give a lot of respect towards coming in towards the rest of this series.
Push LeBlanc. I wasn't thinking at all that we were going to see something like that tonight, but I guess it's going to be one of those picks that will matter in the course of the series. And also, one of the picks that you have to look for a better answer. The Ari was not it at all, Max. We've seen him pulling off other champs so far, a lot of wide variety of champions pulled off in the playoffs. The Ari left a lot to be desired this game. And I think for Max, they need another champion for him to really carry out. A player that can put the team on his back, probably needs a bit more of an impact than what happened with the Ari.
Definitely. And, you know, thank you. First of all, shout out to PC Esports for the raid. We are only 2 games into our best of 5. It is 1-1. We got plenty more League of Legends coming in for the night here in our lower bracket finals. We're going to throw it to a quick break while we get into draft for game number 3. But we'll see you guys in just a couple of minutes.
Say something, won't you say something?
you say I'm better off this way. That's what you decided for me. And every time I close my eyes, we're falling from the skies. Yeah, we're falling, yeah. And every time you take my hand, the cycle starts again. You want me to swim, but you'll be my ocean. We're spinning in circles, a circular motion. You want me to swim, but you'll be my ocean. We're spinning in circles, a circular motion.
Welcome back, everybody, to tonight's broadcast of the Aegis Champions League, where we are coming into game number 3 at a 1-1 scoreline. Exodia Exiles, off the back of this crazy split push LeBlanc from Zephyrat, have tied it up and are coming in looking to try to get themselves onto match point.
And now with adaptations even in the ban phase, change sides, change bans, with the Nocturne coming through first and the Saya as well. Meanwhile, Exiles keeping the same bans. I would assume keeping the same players. Don't know if they actually now are.
We'll let you know when we learn anything different. Hang on, actually.
Not sure
I am being screen shared the client. I don't see any different players. Looks like everybody is still here. Yeah, Molly's still here, Lonzo's still here, so I'm not going to assume any changes unless anything different happens. The Kaisa ban, though, from Middlesticks on the blue side,
yeah,
the B1 Kaisa possibility eliminated.
Maybe that they want to try and get the Sejuani themselves, since it's been banned consistently. Could be they focusing on the Sejuani here and they take it. Tristana as well has been banned consistently, so for Poppy, they take the Tristana here and try and go for something else.
I do really think this is Puppe Tristana. Not just because Middlesticks has more frequently flexed it down there, but also because it's gotten buffs towards bot lane and some nerfs towards mid lane. More armor, less MR on that Tristana. So let's see exactly how that is going to end up playing out. You know, it could still be that flex pick in mid towards max. I think that's a lot of the strength of it as a B1. That's Sejuani now going to be up for the first time in this game, or this match, this series. And it's going to get locked in for Lonzo.
Going to come through for them. A lot of C, huge value as a jungler. And I think one of the first times we haven't seen a carry jungler on the side of Exiles, really. And the Ashe as well, to try and add onto the Freljord effect. We've saw a bit of a composition playing a lot with the Freljord side. Sejuani Ashe, I think it was Lissandra as well. Found a lot of value when it was played, so maybe it's something similar with a lot of C, a lot of slows, and trying to just keep a lot of control over team fights. And the Rel on the other side has been good for Boy Wonder, so I don't see why not pick it up here. And with the Tristana can be a bit better even.
Yeah, and the Ashe has really been Makel's most played champion throughout the whole ACL this split. It's been a big pick for actually a lot of the teams here in this league. There was kind of an Ashe phase where a lot of teams were prioing this champion super highly. And now even more Freljord comp coming on through. The Braum going to join it, trying to give a little bit of peel back, a little bit of defense to that Ashe in what could be a very aggressive Tristana Rel bot lane. And the Olaf coming in for Dragowski. That's a different one. Or the Olaf, the Udyr. Mix it up, my big Freljordian shirtless men. As the Udyr going to come on through. They did play this up against CCG, so it's something that Dragowski's shown us before.
Exactly. It's not out of pocket for Dragowski to try and pull off this Udyr. Going to be really interesting seeing how he performs here. More than likely going to be towards the tank side instead of trying to deal damage, but a really nice mix-up going into the third game of the series. On the Braum side, by the way, as well, I like the fact that with the shield you're going to deny a bit of the huge bursts of damage coming in from the Tristana, but the Udyr is not going to be something that you can interact or mess up with quite a lot. If the passive gets on top of him, maybe yes. But apart from that, Udyr can really run around you effectively and find value into the backline.
And hear me out here, TDS. If I may extend a bizarre olive branch here, the Udyr can also be a wonky flex towards solo lanes. You can kind of sort of play it as I've seen it top lane, and then as far as competitive goes, I recall Insanity back when he was on Dig Challengers was a big fan of the Udyr mid. It was a big, Max Phoenix push and roam sort of pick. Could be something that ends up coming out there. We have seen on the Talia mostly, that's been a play style that Return of the Middlesticks has liked a lot for Max. So I'm going to cross my fingers, hold out a little bit of hope that that might end up coming through.
And with the Aatrox pick here, this could be a good opportunity for Return of the Middlesticks to now play with their counter pick really, really effectively up there in the top lane, especially for Cookie Crook. Someone that we know loves to push, loves to try and get an advantage, loves to try and go for the kills. Giving him the counter pick here would be great. But I was thinking exactly about this champion. You were mentioning about the potential of the push and roam mid lane for the side of Return of the Middlesticks. 6 gives you the push, and even though his roams may be a bit dangerous just because he is a squishy and can die quickly, the ultimate can really impact the map from a safe distance, which can be really impactful for Return of the Middlesticks. And then you have the value of just having the duo of pushing turrets as fast as possible. And then the counter for top lane, looking like Cookie Crook wants to go for the Renekton.
Yeah, and it's a double flex too. I mean, you could always put Puppet on the Ziggs, put Max on the Tristana, and take those back around. I think the threat of that is kind of why they don't ban away the LeBlanc here, because I think they would be willing to probably play Tristana into LeBlanc. But let's see. I mean, that doesn't mean that it's not something that they would be willing to pick here for Zephyrat. He's got a lot of choices for what his counter picks might end up being. He's hovering that LeBlanc, TDS, and I'm gonna be honest, I can't say stuff about it. I can't accuse him. I can't say I don't like it, because he blew my mind with it in game number 2.
Well, a 12-1 game does give you a bit more leeway to try and play the champ once again, but going to go against it, goes for the picture instead. And for the comp, I do think the picture fits a bit better. You need more consistent magical damage, you need good control because you're ready, even though you have a good basis. Trying to keep more control over certain parts of the map can be really ideal, and then the poke damage from the picture can also be impactful in certain situations. Also, having pushing power in lane can be really important if you're going against the 6. If you're going against the Tristana, can be a bit riskier. But you need someone to contest on the pushing power on the 6, and Victor will do that potentially better than the LeBlanc.
And this is something that I dare I say is even a little bit more in Zephyrat's wheelhouse than something like the LeBlanc. His most played champion this split is the Azir. He's often on these backline mage carries. Yes, he plays the LeBlanc a lot too, but that's kind of the exceptional rule, right? We go from top to bottom on Zephyrat's most played champs. It's Azir 1, LeBlanc 2, Victor, Ziggs, like these sorts of picks that are real farmy AoE damage mages. That's what he is prioritized mostly throughout the season. And Victor going to slot right in there pretty nicely, knowing that he is potentially getting double flexed on. This is the pick that he decides to go for, even with that Azir up. So that's a little bit surprising to me. The Fiora run back for Cookie Crook, though, looking to reprise some of that big performance he had in game number 1. And I think that's a matchup that's real good into Aatrox. That guy's got a lot of knockups, and he's always trying to position himself to hit you with them. Being able to riposte that back can win you a whole lot of trades.
And with getting the opportunity to go for the counter pick, because it's not typical that we see you picking first on the red side for top laner and then giving the opportunity to try and give the counter pick to the enemy top laner. Not that typical, so Cookie Crook finding that value can be really, really good for them. The fact that not the LeBlanc, the Azir wasn't played this game for Sephiroth, maybe the fact that the first game went a bit haywire when you look back at it, right? The fact that the Azir didn't really find that much value, maybe leaving a bad taste on Sephiroth, and that's why he opts into the picture this time around instead of the Azir. But the function of the two champions is going to be pretty similar. Main difference, engage power. Azir can force an engage to happen thanks to Emperor Sabai. Victor cannot force an engage, but can keep better control of engages. And I think that in this come, much more valuable than trying to just go in with the Azir. Especially with someone like the Udyr that goes straight in a line and tries to get on top of you. When it's that telegraphed, Victor probably has more value with the gravity field than the Azir in that sense.
Yeah, and it could be a little bit of superstition keeping him off the Azir too. I
True.
mean, I'm not gonna say that's impossible. In fact, I'm gonna encourage it. I've been very public about saying I think we haven't paid enough consideration towards like the impact a witch's curse can have on League of Legends games. I think we really need to start getting a little bit more superstition in what champions we pick, the
Of
way that we
course.
play, how we sit, what our mouse pads look like, all that stuff. I want more of that crap in League.
You want players to go into the game just taking a bow or something like
Yeah,
that?
just make stuff up. Just believe in imaginary stuff and let that influence
Of
your
course.
gameplay. I think that's a little piece of spice we're missing.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't argue against it just because I'm so much into football that I see that all the time. So I'm 100% behind that. But I'm trying to think, what could gamers really do? Like, it has to be maybe do a bit of spins to the share, and that way you give yourself good luck, something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, or all the same stuff. Like what? Like people like wear the same clothes and stuff. You could do. You still have to wear clothes when you play games, mostly,
Yeah,
at
true.
least in like in public settings. And yeah, there's lots of opportunity for silly stuff like that to come on through. So we'll have to see. There was already who was it? Somebody like shaved their head to, or was
I
it
think it was
Bjergsen?
APA, no?
Bjergsen shaved the beard at some point. That was
Oh,
something that
yeah.
happened. There's been stuff like that before. I can't. None of it immediately springs to mind, but it's definitely happened before.
I forgot the Bjergsen shave, but didn't it go bad? Didn't it backfire, actually? Wasn't the beard like the good luck charm, and then he shaved it and they began losing?
We don't have to talk about that. Then it's just superstition the other way. It all counts. Everything makes me right.
Yeah,
Playing both
technically,
sides.
yeah, it works. As long as it
All right.
works, right? So
It does. It does. So our countdown is ticking on down here. Everybody's locked in. It is going to be max mid on the Ziggs, Puppe bot on the Tristana, by the way. So that's fully locked in now. There was still that potential to switch them back and forth. It is the allocation that we kind of expected to end up coming through. We'll have to see how that matchup is going to be played. Probably going to be a pretty farmy, heavy mid lane, which, I mean, that was kind of what we had in game number one. It ended up favoring Middlesticks. So we'll see how that's going to end up playing out. Going to be a little bit of a different matchup in the top lane, though. This time, a little bit of a carry v carry setup. Kooky Krook did get that counter pick on the Fiora, but we saw a really good Aatrox performance out of Mali. He was able to come back from a rough early game there. See if he's going to maybe even try not falling behind early this game and have an even better one.
ideally, if that happens, would be the best for Mali. But Cookie Crook with having the counter pick here, because last game it was technically Mali's counter pick onto Cookie Crook. And the longer it went, the better it turned out for Mali. But this time around, it's Cookie Crook with a counter pick. And if you give Fiora an advantage at any point, even though Rumble can make really good use of a snowballing power, Fiora doesn't stop snowballing. Like, she snowballs from start to finish. It's such an impressive champion to give an advantage to. And if Cookie Crook or Dragowski is able to put that advantage onto the Fiora, can be really, really damaging for the side of the Exiles. So they have to try and keep as much control as possible there. Also, looking at how the lanes are ordered, you probably would like to have the Sejuani hover around topside, because that's the lane where you can most easily proc the passive. That or bot lane, but Ash Brom is not the most aggressive bot lane ever.
It's not. It's really just kind of looking to farm out there. And Puppe and Boy Wonder, they're willing to get real aggressive, especially Puppe on this Tristana. I mean, he will jump in on your head over and over again, and Dragowski's going to path bot to be able to enable that. So something that they're going to have to be aware of. It's really interesting because both side lanes could really be big snowbally lanes for Middlesticks. Really want to put a lot of weight there on to what they're going to be able to accomplish with this Sejuani for Lonzo. He's going to have to try to match Dragowski and prevent him from snowballing one of these lanes. And if he guesses wrong or predicts wrong, it's not all random. You can try to get down some vision, try to track the jungler and make sure you're going to be in the right position, but he's got to be able to do that. Otherwise, he risks one of these lanes really getting out of control.
It's the risk you have to pay if you really want to make it happen, or not that you have to pay, but the risk that can happen if you're not careful enough. I'm also just thinking about how that bot lane potentially can interact quite a lot, because you brought it up. Tristana is a champion that jumps in, right? That tries to force a place, and with the Rel, more reason to try and make it happen. But Braum is the anti to that sort of play style. So if Braum is really against it, and Tristana and Rel really cannot find value like that, are you actually incentivized to go down there in bot lane? Like, unless a big mistake happens, I just don't see bot lane having that much of an impact, because kind of the champions clash against each other really effectively in that sense.
They do. They definitely do. So, and we'll see. I mean, this bot lane has gone kind of both directions so far this series. It's really been a consistent point of power for Middlesticks. Like Puppey and Boy Wonder have been solid in the 2-on-2, but it hasn't always been able to be transitioned across the rest of the map. And in the later game fights, especially in game number 2, it was really Makel popping off on that Kaisa and making all the difference in the team fights. So now Makel going to be on the Ashe. Will he be able to make the picks for the team? Will he be able to be that extra carry force that he was last game? Or will Puppey and Boy Wonder just run away with it, which is, I think, a little bit more similar to what went down in game number 1.
And also looking at level 1s as well, right? We had that huge level 1 the first game that really set a good tone for Middlesticks. They didn't really accomplish that in the second game. They didn't really look that aggressive as well in the second game with that sort of start. Now in the third game, are they going to try and go for it? You have a Rel and Nudir that, technically speaking, have good level 1s to start with, and Tristana level 1 power is not that bad. Same for the 6. I would argue the only one that maybe gives me a bit of doubt would be the Fiora, but they could still look aggressive to try and set the tone early on in the game for them.
Well, they definitely can, and it looks like we are on to the Rift for game number 3 TDS. Return of the Middlesticks, taking to the blue side for the first time tonight, up against Exodia Exiles on the red, tied 1-1 in tonight's best of 5, both looking for a date with Mirage Alliance tomorrow night in our grand finals.
And whoever wins this still has a big task in front of them. Winning against Mirage Alliance is not going to be anything close to easy. Like, it's going to be a big problem for either team. But before that, they have to win tonight. And it seems like no level 1s, just Cookie Crook walking into the bush.
Yep, Cookie Crook stamping his flag in this tri-brush, as he so likes to do, going to just at least push Molly out towards a different area of the map. And some defensive warding already coming through from Makel as well to try to watch out for a potential blue side invade. They do not want to end up getting 3-buffed by Dragowski again. That could be a recipe for disaster when you're Lonzo just trying to get up your levels on this Sejuani and be able to help out your lanes.
And Sejuani, that isn't necessarily the biggest farmer or the best clear. She does a good job, don't get me wrong, but isn't the best at that. You really don't want to lose your tempo at doing it. I think Udyr out clears Sejuani by quite a bit, so you don't want to fall behind to the Udyr that much at any point, really.
You do not. They're going to start things off here. Cookie Crook trying to disrupt this red buff, so the late invade coming through. It's kind of just a one-man show, though. Cookie Crook, he's going to show up, he's going to swing his rapier around, and he's going to move back right on out there. Not too much to be found. Now, just an early push in the bot lane from Puppey and Boy Wonder is the bot side start from Dragowski. He is looking to move up towards the top side. Lonzo going to be moving towards the bottom. And immediately my eyes go towards the top lane to see what Cookie Crook's going to be able to set up for.
Already trying to harass a bit of the Aatrox as much as possible. Also, early trades down here in the bot lane. Boy Wonder and Puppey are taking a bit of damage. I'm not sure if you want to force it like this, because level 2 will be obtained by both the Braum and the Ashe before you.
Yeah, it will. It will. Maybe going to end up being a swing point in this lane, as Cookie Crook is already trying to chunk Molly down. It's going to throw out that riposte as a little bit of bonus damage. And as you said, that level 2 gets hit by Makel and Barlow first. So Puppey and Boy Wonder are going to have to pay that some respect for just a few seconds.
At the very least for now, and with no support from the jungler, they have to be extra careful about how they want to try and force and engage. Now junglers going to the opposite side of the map for each other. They are now closer to trying getting that first gank going, and I think actually a good potential gank onto the mid lane could happen here. Six, as we know, pushes really well to start the game, so he's getting a really nice push early on.
He is, and definitely wants to keep that going. Wants to be able to rejoin some of these side lanes and make sure to use that big pushing power that the Tristana Ziggs duo presents to you. You get just the faintest of advantages with this duo. You can snowball it so effectively, rip through these turrets, claim yourself a whole bunch of plates, and you just have thousands and thousands of golden advantage before you even know it. Going to be a few minutes before that really presents itself, though. Dragowski just going to be here in time for that first scuttle spawn, and then we'll be up on this top side. But Cookie Crook, it doesn't look like the wave is too favorable to enable anything to go down. And Dragowski might just go in, set up some vision, get his first buy off, and go back to his farm.
I was thinking maybe there could have been a dive attempt in top lane, but it really doesn't look like that could be the case. Just a bit of damage onto Sephiroth in the mid lane. No flash on Dragowski, which means that there's barely an opportunity to actually collapse there. And neither jungler is going to really find that initial gank in the game.
Yeah, Max gets a lot of damage onto Sephiroth, but he doesn't have any mana to really finish off the job. He's got a couple cookies in the inventory. Could eat those to try to get some mana back. Might just look for the recall instead, though. Just wants to get this wave crashed in and knows that he's not under too much threat from level 4 Victor. Knows that he's going to be much better at the wave clear during that time.
Which champion is really under threat against level 4 Victor when we think about it, right? It's just level 4 Victor.
Kale,
but
I guess
Kale,
is the answer.
you could say that for Kale against anyone, really.
Yeah, true. So, going to be a Max favorite matchup for now, at least. He did eat one of those cookies, so it looks like he's still in the business of trying to keep his mana up, trying to keep the push on up, and try to deny a good recall from Zephyrat. Molly going very low here. Kooky Krook can get the first blood, and he cuts him down. Solo kill to Kooky Krook, back on the Fiora, back in business.
And it's solo kill, flash, and pushing wave onto Kooky Krook. Everything's set up. For now, Kooky Krook have complete success up during the top lane engage bot.
Wow, this is going to be an immediate stun on a Puppet. He has to cleanse that back away, but Dragowski is coming in, and Boy Wonder has held both targets in place. Mako going to get slowed down despite the ghost. Nowhere to go. Will go down here. They donate the kill to Puppet, and it's a 2-0 start for Return of the Middlesticks.
And honestly, really like that Mako didn't use the flash. You're essentially dead in that place, so there's absolutely no reason why you use it.
At level 6 to level 5, wants to turn this whole thing around. He's healing up, but Lonzo's here to turn it back, and Molly is healing plenty, but Kooky Krook wants to get the job done. Molly flashes over the wall, but Kooky Krook is right on top of him, and the cutoff is coming in. He's gonna pick that one up with the Mega Inferno Bomb. 3-0 Middlesticks.
Molly tried as hard as he could to try and escape there, but now a kill for Max, getting that the assistance from a safe distance, netting the kill. Really good for the 6. Also, the Fiora will get a free time pushing this wave. Not sure if she's going to be able to crash it before the Aatrox gets back top lane, but a big advantage once again for Kooky Krook up there. And that also means that because this journey was topside, Dragon is collected as well by the side of Return of the Middlesticks. Great start to the game by them.
Great start for Middlesticks indeed. Winning in both side lanes, winning in mid lane because they got that free kill given over, and because of how long Max has just been bullying that matchup. Really great setup here as Kooky Krook still up in levels, fighting Molly once again. Up 2 levels on both of them, but is in the 1 versus 2, has no grand challenge. Probably not going to be able to get out of this one. Trying to fight it out, but Lonzo finishes him off.
At least give it up to Molly. Give the kill to the Aatrox, desperately in need of some gold at this point. Probably could have been more valuable, but they collect the kill onto the Fiora, and importantly, the wave is also in a bad spot.
Great reset there from Puppet, forcing back Mako, and now they're just going to turn it on to Barlow, who's up too far without an 80 carry to back him up. Great trades there from Boy Wonder and Puppet. They chunk out a fair bit of health away from their opposition. They know that Lonzo's up on the top side, and they are sitting pretty here, ready to farm up some plates on future waves.
Exactly. They are trying to get as much gold as they can, and with the fact that they were able to force the tension of the Sejuani topside means that they get quite a bit of space down there. Looking for a potential play in the mid lane with the Rel on the side.
Boy Wonder looking for the scoop. Alonso is here with the response. He's ticked level 6, so he's got that Glacial Prison available when it's needed. Is just going to back on away as Boy Wonder does the same and continues on his farm, but Dragowski, he sees a chance to move on up here. He knows that Barlow's down on the bottom side, so they have the numbers advantage with their support up here, and they might just try to turn that into Rift Herald. Barlow just completed the recall, is running out. Mako is doing the same, but it's going to be a couple seconds before they can get here.
Will take a bit of time, and I'm not sure if they will be able to get on time to respond there. Dragowski's really trying to rush it. It's been a bit control into Lonzo. Smite is on their side. Oh,
Pushing back
It took
Lonzo.
a
There's
lot
the
of
Arctic
damage.
Assault down. Molly now going to be in the pit. Pops the World Ender to try to fight it out. One more spike to come on through, and they do manage to pick it up, but Dragowski is melting, and Molly going to finish that off, get the first reset on the World Ender, and chase down Kooky Krook. Great damage onto Zephyros, but no follow-up available, and that is a kill given over to Exodia Exiles in trade for the Rift Herald.
But they get Rift Herald, plus look at bot lane, quickly. Tristana, alone pushing by herself. Guess what happens when Tristana gets free time? She gets blades, she gets a lot of gold, plus a CS lead as well into the Ashe. And she, even though she's trying to run right now, Tristana collected 3 plates of gold.
Flash.
Wait, Max.
He misses bouncing bombs. Zephyros gonna get this. A blunder by Max in the mid lane, gonna tie up the kill score.
Yeah, that was absolutely not needed at all, Max. You could just push the wave or try and thread as much as possible.
He's feeling it, man. I can't get mad at that.
I won't, but at the same time, he dies. So, divine punishment, if you ask me.
Fair. Can't disagree on that one. He goes for it. He shorts. Well, I guess he doesn't short it. He longs it. He fires it a little bit fast where he wanted it and bounces right away from Zephyros, getting farther away from the target. Not going to be able to pick up a solo kill as a result, but recalls, he gets his mana regen, gets a pretty late tier, all things considered, but he'll end up stacking it up one way or the other.
Literally, it's 6. One of those champions that you buy the tier at 15 minutes and it's stacked by 25. That it's just so quick. It doesn't really affect the 6 that much. But what does affect him quite a bit is that kill, I think, does push the picture over the threshold for the upgrade, which means that now it's going to be a bit more difficult to push the picture. Yeah, that is the big difference in this matchup. Having the laser beam upgraded to not having. You now have push control, you now have a bit more answer to the 6, and makes it harder for Max to have more pressure in the lane.
Definitely true. Be getting a little bit of extra punishment for his over-aggression if that death ray now being upgraded was going to come through one way or the other eventually. Now Zephyros really in a good position, getting a nice trade there, turning the tables from what was a rough early game for him. Now just shoving into the bottom lane once again, just going to look to guarantee more turret plates for Puppet as they plop down that Rift Herald. This is going to take the turret close to death, but the backup from Lonzo means that they do not have to give up on the fight. They do get the plate, but they are going to be able to keep the turret standing. And now Lonzo stepping up aggressively, potentially threatening an engage here, even though across the board, level disadvantages for the side of Exodia Exiles. Can they defend against a second wave? Lonzo's still recalling. He will interrupt it. Focusing on the Puppet, they are going to pop that Phoenix form. They are getting tons of damage back across, though. Mako just firing out with this Ranger's focus. It's Dragowski falling incredibly low, but a flash in from Puppet. Gonna finish off Lonzo, but it's Zephyros roaming down first, just a little bit faster to play. Puppet flashes in, tries to knock Mako, hits Mega Inferno Bomb, but it doesn't land, and he's gonna go down to Zephyros, trying to get too cute with it. Return of the Middlesticks, they give up 2 kills.
Puppet could have secured that if he doesn't push the Ashe like that. The bomb was positioned so that the Ashe cannot escape with a flash because she easily gets killed by the bomb, right? But because the Puppet pushes the Ashe away, gives her enough space to actually just be able to safely escape the Super Mega Death Bomb. Oh no, Max.
Chaos Storm falling down. One more laser would do it, but Zephyros can't tank the turret that long. Max will get out to safety. He'll get to lay down another layer of bombs as well. So this might end up denying a turret plate from Zephyros. Ends up making a big difference.
Yeah, it's not going to be the goal that Zephyros was expecting to get, but at the end of the day, really close for Max to end up dying there. Nothing more goes through. The goal really close, and the dragon started by Alonso here.
This is the non-sweep series that we were promised, TDS.
Yep.
Back and forth gameplay in game number 2. Now more back and forth gameplay in game number 3. A series that looks like it could go the distance. It's Return of the Middlesticks going to take out the first turret. This is what they've been working on for so long, and they want Zephyros as well. Flash engage from Boy Wonder. Doesn't land the stun, doesn't land the knockup, but none of that matters as Dragowski is just too fast and chases him down in the Udyr.
Dragowski is too fast, and Victor barely has a flash, so he cannot escape the play. Molly looking for the Tristana on the side, Boy Wonder as well.
Good damage onto Boy Wonder. They still have Dragowski in the front line, though. A big engage onto 3, and everybody's funneled into this tiny choke point against Tristana Ziggs. A disaster for the Exodia Exiles. His return to the Middlesticks pops up in the fight, takes down 4, and they have backed themselves the lead back.
Huge fight by Return of the Middlesticks. No big turn side. They all accumulate on one space, and immediately perfect engage by Boy Wonder, setting up the pace for the fight and winning it for the side of Return of the Middlesticks. They also have the Tristana and the 6, like you're pointing out. That means that it should be such an easy fight for them to win. Cookie Crow has enough dashes, so it shouldn't matter that much. And the Dragon as well, collected by the side of Return of the Middlesticks. Sadly, it's another Kemtech.
Boy Wonder coming on through. Going to potentially look for Zephyros here, but his carries are recalling. But that's going to be a 4K gold lead given over to Return of the Middlesticks. Back ahead in this game. And going to be with all the gold onto Puppe and onto Kooky Krook. That is right where you would choose to put it. It's going to make this side lane super dangerous. It's going to make these team fights super dangerous. And it's really limiting the options that Exodia Exiles can go for.
But they still need to try and find a couple of picks here and there to try and close out on the gold lead. It's not like they are super bad in the current game, but certainly they cannot keep allowing for the Return of the Mystics to get this sort of leads, because apart from the fact that they have really good champions to try and scale into the game, the sieging potential is so dangerous. You have Tristana 6, we have to remember that. One burn buff could turn into so much destruction into the base of Exiles, so they cannot afford to give up so much space to them.
They cannot. And then Rift Herald number 2 going to get started on up on spawn by Dragowski. Got multiple members on up here. They've exited the bottom side to just get the push in mid, and Barlow's going to be the first target. He's getting hit by 2 targets. Puppe, though, jumps in a little bit too far. He can't jump back out, and that's a big shutdown picked up by Makel again. Over-aggression from Return to the Middlesticks is going to cost him big time as concussive blows gives him a second kill on the Boy Wonder. It's now a 5 versus 3 on the map, but Zephyros might be up too far. Here comes Dragowski trying to chase him down, and he's got nowhere left to go. Going to get picked up by an Inferno Bomb from Knox, but the Dragon, or the Rift Herald rather, will get started on up here by the side of Exodia, and they should be able to cash out with it here. But Kooky Krook is looking, as is Dragowski coming down from the top side. They are outnumbered, but they're going to start fighting on to Kooky Krook. He gets pushed in towards the mid lane, but Dragowski is going to look for a smite fight. They've got to focus him down and get him out of the fight first. Lonzo stepping forward, lands the stun. Here comes Makel, firing out the slows with those arrows, but the damage is returned. Here comes Kooky Krook on the backside. They were able to secure the Rift Herald.
Such a good stun.
He's resetting off the back of that riposte, and he's taken down.
He's turning around, Gordo.
Exiles cut down by the disadvantaged Middlesticks squad. 4 more fall.
It went from a 3v5 to a 3v4 to a 3 is enough to win the game, because they win the fight. Yeah, they may have lost a Herald, but it's second Rift Herald. Realistically, its value is so low, and in the meanwhile, they get so much gold in their favor.
Not done.
Multiple kills. Yeah, no. Look at that. They even get a turret up during the top lane, and just go for the fight. You know what? Kill the Victor. Why not, Poppy? Jump on top of him.
Wow.
He's looking for it.
Right, wait, they're not done yet. Here comes Boy Wonder again. Yep. Teleport being channeled. This is Molly coming into the fight, but they're going to try to focus down Zephyros. They're going to get him down. The regen coming through for Kooky Krook. Molly trying to step forward, but he's got his lane opponent there, disrupting him, stunning him with the riposte, and now just backing out away. Look at the stutter steps. Kooky Krook's just silent on him now.
Kooky Krook trying to show the fancy feed that in the first game went so well for him. In this third one, also going quite well for him. 6-1 and 2 would argue a really good performance by Fura so far. And they also bait out the teleport out of Mali. So not only do they secure the kill onto Sephiroth, they get a really important cooldown to try and respond in the side lane. With Baron coming up soon, that teleport diff on Kooky Krook may end up netting them a bit of more value in the side lane.
It very well might. These top laners have been all over the map. Look at the CS. PBS has just pointed out to us. It is neither of these top laners are farming very much, but Molly at 75, very behind the pace of the game. We're going to get forced back out here. It's going to be a 4 versus 3, trying to defend this turret. The explosive shot going to do good damage, but it's Dragowski just getting focused down. He's going to take a turret shot. He goes down. Molly gets the reset on the World Ender, and now they're the ones with the numbers advantage. First knockup lands on a Puppe. It's Zephyros coming in from the top side, and they're going to push back Return to the Middlesticks.
They get so much good value there because of the over pushing onto the mid lane turret. They find the kill onto Dragowski and now maybe looking to collect this first turret. Doesn't look like they have enough damage to actually get it, so it's going to be on this Rift Herald though.
Yeah, Rift Herald coming on in for the crash. Already at about half HP, this turret. It should go down before too long, and that's going to be an objective bounty for Exodia if they can get it. I see they got members poised up there. There they go. They do manage to secure it.
Oh, the engage.
Storm engage from Boy Wonder. He's only got max for the backup damage though, and that's not enough to finish off Zephyros without the Mega Inferno Bomb. And now Lonzo can just slow him. He can back on away, and Exodia is going to be just fine, but they might lose their turret on the crackback.
So, don't get me wrong, the engage is amazing, but Max used Mega Inferno Bomb to clear the wave. So there's no follow-up onto that engage by Boy Wonder. There's nothing to actually commit after that and get a lot of value with the play. I love the play by Boy Wonder, but the timing of it, it's really bad because there's barely any opportunity for it to actually net you anything of value. Mid lane turret was going to fall anyway, and the dragon was going to be collected as well anyway since they have the control. A bit of a blunder if you ask me.
Yep. You can levy all the criticism towards Middlesticks in the world, but at the end of the day, they are still running away with this game. They've made more good plays than bad, and they do have huge leads on Max, on Kooky Krook, and on Puppe. And Kooky Krook's looking to make it a bigger lead. He's found Zephyros in the side lane. Over the wall he goes. He's going to look to try to parry this out, and he just takes him down. 1 versus 1. Mega Inferno Bomb not needed. Kooky Krook takes down Zephyros.
Yeah, I think Fiora is a really good champion to try and split push. I don't know why, but it just feels like she's really, really good to go into the split push.
You got a good point there.
Really effective. Oh, Lonzo?
Lonzo stepping up. Going to be able to land the Arctic Assault, but he might get returned onto. Dragowski, still a big threat on this Udyr. He rushed that Demonic Embrace, so that Phoenix Form
up there
does a fair bit of damage. Yeah, coming on down. That's going to be the turret falling for Max. Full 5-man squad of Middlesticks is up here, and 1 man down. Really hard for Exodia to respond. They need Zephyros here. He's respawned now, but they've lost the top inner, and Baron might be in their sights next as they're taking full control of the red side jungle. Stepping forward onto Barlow. They lock down Molly. He's gone down. Barlow going to be the source of another reset. Puppe gets that one. 2 more kills to Middlesticks as they turn to Baron.
2 really easy kills collected there by Middlesticks. Finding Mali and Barlow by themselves. Huge engage, quick engage by Boy Wonder, and they make the most use out of it. With 2 members down, with just needing 2 members to take down Baron, apparently they're poised to take it. And also now, like we were mentioning, with Baron buff, they can take so much of the base from the side of Exiles because they have a 6 and a Tristana. That's such a dangerous... Oh, wait, Mako.
Mako has to flash to avoid going down to Max. The turret shots are going to do it. Great clapback from Lonzo. Picks up the shutdown, and they're going to get Boy Wonder as well. 2 crucial kills given over to Exodia Exiles as they need to scrape up whatever bits of gold they can find. That's 2 kills.
Massive engage there by Lonzo, turning around a play that was looking really scary for Michael. And in the meanwhile, they stop the Baron buff push. They lose 2 Baron buffs because now Max won't have it. And that at the very least puts a bit of a stop to the plans from Return of the Middlesticks. It's still dangerous because I think that they can push really heavily, but it's better than what it was before.
For sure. Setups now coming on through from the side of Middlesticks. They get their resets done, and they're coming back out onto the map. It'll be Dragon Soul available in 2 minutes. They have the Baron at their backs, and they could try to just close things out here, choking out Exodia Exiles. Fewer and fewer options to play through. They are down nearly 10k gold. Just need to find themselves some kind of miracle fight.
Well, they've done that before, right? It's not like they haven't done it, so maybe it happens. It's difficult, but you have to believe, if you're an Exile side, that it can come through. And so far, the Baron hasn't been a big gold influx for the side of Middlesticks, so I would argue at the very least you're holding on as best as you can.
Ooh, just going all in on Dragowski here. He does go CC immune, but the AoE damage to Victor is substantial. Teleport coming on through from the Ziggs. They've taken down Boy Wonder.
no.
They're focusing on a Max. Max is dropped as well. That's a double kill over to Sephiroth. Molly in the middle of everybody, gonna melt immediately as Puppet gets his first reset, stepping forward, but can't find a target to shoot. Kooky Krook is now underneath the turret, but maybe that's just too deep as Makel's gonna look to return fire. A knock away onto Sephiroth, but Sephiroth manages to take down Puppet, as that's both carries down for return to the Middlesticks, and Kooky Krook is the only damage dealer left, but he will not be dissuaded from this push. 200 health is enough health. He's gonna look to take down the topside turret, but gets pushed back away.
Escapes before gets taken down, then there Kooky Krook, but what a fight. Once again, we talked about Miracle 5. Exile finds it with taking down quickly the Boy Wonder engage. Also, Max has to teleport immediately to try and respond, and that makes it so that there's not a lot of opportunity for him to reposition himself. He gets a good amount of damage down, but he cannot reposition himself, which means that he gets killed quickly. Really great fight by Exiles, finding a lot of value, denying a lot of Barons once again, and also before the dragon fight, which means that they get gold for their items. A couple of items completed here and there for them before this crucial fight is so important.
Yeah, and they should have their ultimates back available in time. Lonzo's about to come up. Molly's just came up as well, and Sephiroth's here too. Everybody's ready except for Barlow, but Barlow should have it within 20 seconds for the time that the dragon fight does break out. He's hovering in this bush for now, gonna get pushed out by the poke damage from Max, as it's gonna be a full 5-on-5 for the dragon. He could go for a split push here, but he's already arrived to the play, has no reason to be anywhere else right now. The dragon has spawned now, just dancing back and forth. Stragowski stepping up at the top side, going to pull the trigger. Denses in onto Molly. Molly just gets eviscerated by Max's bombs, but Kooky on the backside has been melted down by Sephiroth. It's a 4-on-4 now. Lonzo taking up the damage, will drop to Puppet. It's a 4 versus 3 in favor of return of the Middlesticks, and the bouncing bombs continue to find their way onto Makel. It's going to be Barlow, who's up a little bit too far and is continuing to suffer from Max's poke damage, forcing them back into their blue side jungle, starting with the dragon that will get them soul, and there's nothing that Exodia Exiles can do about it. They're forced to retreat, and the dragon soul is achieved by return to the Middlesticks.
They get the extra benefits from the soul now. Maybe the worst soul of the game, but you still would rather have it than not. Oh, Puppet finding Sephiroth here, maybe?
Ooh, Sephiroth goes down. Puppet with a big reset. Makel, though, has plenty of damage, and Puppet can't dive right into that, or at least feels like he can't, even with the level advantage. Stepping forward now, it is going to be his inhibitor turret falling on down. Dragowski is immovable on this Udyr, and they cannot do anything to push him back. The inhib's going to fall. The engage is being looked for by Boy Wonder, but they're going to get pushed back. Molly again, pulling the trigger, but again is tanking a huge amount of damage as the teleport comes in from Kooky Krook, and Kooky Krook is just going all in to chase down this Aatrox. Molly dives back underneath the turret, and they are going to be able to take down Boy Wonder in trade, but he's already dropped, and now it's going to be Barlow. Focused down by Puppet. The detonate will give a reset over, and a turret shot will stop Puppet, and will stop Max, rather, as Puppet is still standing. He backs on away with the rest of his team, and it looks like Exodia Exiles have held on for just a little bit longer, but their bases is in shambles.
They were able to finally open up the base from the side of Exiles, but it cost them the lives of both Max and Boy Wonder. Oh wait, Alonso, no.
Oh, Alonso. All right, he's tanky enough, though. He's got the Sunfire cape. He can step off of that. He can take one explosive shot, but can he take a second one, as it's just going to blow up on his head, and Puppet goes on a rampage. Makel, the next target, goes down to the Buster shot, and a double kill to the Middlesticks AD carry.
Yeah, gets the 2 kills, gets the red buff, and now the teleport from Molly looking to try and kill Puppet. But Molly, I'm not sure you want this at all.
Molly doesn't want any fight at this point, and every time it is not going his way, he just gets blown up by the Middlesticks carries, as now Dragowski leading the charge on the remaining members, looking to close things out here and now. Boy, Krook have arrived from the bottom side, and it's an instantaneous ace for return of the Middlesticks. They want to get themselves on a match point. They're looking to get this thing done quick and easy, and moving on to the Nexus now. They should be able to close this out. It's only Lonzo on the defense. He throws out the Glacial Prison, but he just gets pulled back away by the Magnet Storm, and 4 members of Middlesticks are going to be able to take him down. With the assistance of Dragowski and everybody else, they take down that Nexus, and they are going to move up to 2-1.
They may have killed Poppy at the end, but Poppy did the damage. He was there when it mattered most and jumping from left to right, up and down, killing targets everywhere. Huge game by the AD carry, and that's why the Tristana, it goes to Poppy. That's why you put the Tristana on Poppy. Huge performance, really well played. A bit messy here and there. There were really good opportunities for Exile to try and turn around the game. Maybe not a lot on the mid game towards late game, but there were good opportunities for them to really find some angles. But Return of the Middlesticks showing why they are in this spot. When they got the lead, they never let it go as effectively as possible. And also, I would say Cookie Crook having a much, much better game compared to the previous one.
Yeah, and the series continues as it has played. A huge game for Puppe, a huge game for Cookie Crook. They are able to continue to win through these side lanes, and they are showing up in these team fights. And Cookie Crook on the Fiora is a problem at this point. 2-0 on the pick
100%.
in the series. Has not been able to produce a good response to it by Molly. Tried the Aatrox in this game, did not work out. Tried the Ornn in game number 1, did not work out. And blinding top lane in general really feels like it is super hurting Exodia Exiles in these games.
Exactly. I wouldn't even argue blinding top lane for anyone, because in the second game it was blinded by Cookie Crook, right? And they lost the game out, got countered, ended up losing the lane after a couple of bad fights. So you have to be sure about your top lane matchup, or make it as an interactive as possible. Because if you do pick badly in it and you lose out early on, it's going to impact heavily on the result of the game.
It definitely is. And now Middlesticks on match point, just need one more win to get themselves a matchup with Mirage Alliance tomorrow. See if they are going to be able to do it in 4 here, or if Exodia Exiles can push us all the way to Silver Scrapes. We're going to throw it to a quick break while we get into draft for game number 4, but we will see you on the other side. Welcome back, everybody, to the Aegis Champions League losers bracket final between Return of the Middlesticks and Exodia Exiles. Return of the Middlesticks currently lead at 2-1, and we are getting into draft for game number 4. Looks like we've already gotten started here, TDS, and so far, the bands, they're looking plenty comfortable and familiar.
Pretty much same bans we've seen so far this series. Tristana wasn't banned previous game, and we saw what happened, so this time around, banned again. They changed sides once again, so Exiles taking blue side this time around and Return of the Middlesticks onto the red side again. Are they going to ban the Kaiser this time around? Are they going to give it up? Are they going to take away Sejuani? What are the adaptations that they are going to try and show going into this game for?
And the Rel ban, taking it away from Boy Wonder. I mean, he has had some real good engages on it. I don't know if it's the pure driver of what's been changing the results of these games, but it is a different look than what we've seen so far. What are they leaving up for this? They end up leaving up the Sejuani, or no, the Sejuani has been banned by Middlesticks. They leave up the Xayah, which they've been banning the last couple of games.
Yeah. And now it seems like Xayah is going to be open as well as the Kaiser, so I think they're going to trade Kaiser Xayah here. Yeah, Nocturne did have a lot more value, I believe, in the second game, so I like the fact that they are taking it away if they don't have a true answer for it. And Xayah Kai'Sa is quintessential bot lane matchup that we've seen really a lot of times so far this season. So why not just pick into it? The most interesting part to me is, what is Boy Wonder going to opt into? There's still some engaged champions up that you can go for in the bot lane. Nautilus could be an option, Leona as well. Rakan as well, if you're going to go for the Xayah, could be really big.
Yeah, I mean, that would be my thought, right? If you're going to take him off of the Rel, might as well go in for the duo. You already know that Puppe is going to be playing that Xayah. It's been a big pick for him this whole run, and it's been banned away from him for the last 2 games. They can just pair that up with the Rakan. Nice and easy right here. Or they could take themselves a priority jungler. That Sejuani is still up and has been a big deal for both players. See if they want to secure that one for themselves. That does, of course, risk giving over the Rakan if Exodia want to look to pair it. Or it could just be the Udyr again. I mean, Dragowski feeling real good with how that champ felt in game number 3.
And the fact that you have a champion that you're this comfortable into playing into someone like the Sejuani can be really ideal. That being said, it was coming through blind, so the Jarvan 4, now that it's open right now, can be picked and fits the bill in terms of wanting to have something to engage, right? So not going to shy away from doing something that the Kai'Sa loves to do, and can lock down this Udyr. Udyr doesn't tend to take the flash, which means that you can try and put him in place and just try and kill him as soon as possible.
Definitely. The Jarvan going to be the lock-in for Exodia Exiles. So we're just ignoring Sejuani, I guess, from being a pick ban champion to just completely whiffing in this game number 4. That's an interesting evolution over the course of this series. And there's that Rakan. They're going to look to deny it by locking it in as a duo with the Kai'Sa. I cannot be mad at that.
The idea is not bad. Gives you the same value as other engaged supports as well. Obviously not going to be the same as if it was with the Xayah, but overall the champion is not a bad choice. And now you have to go for what's left of the engaged supports. With no Rakan on side, you could go Leona or Nautilus. I would argue Leona probably fits better or feels better just because she's tankier. And I do think that has better interactions against the Rakan, but the Nautilus is kind of the quintessential pick that a lot of people do like to go for, and the point-and-click ultimate really could make a difference in some of those fights. So not against the Nautilus pick here, but we're still left with the top side. And so far, Gordo, we know that top lane has been crucial. So if you give the counter pick here to Cookie Group, you want to try and deny as many champions as possible.
For sure. There's the LeBlanc ban away on the red side, at least being hovered here. They do not want a repeat of game number 2. Zephyrat looking very good over there, as they are going to take that one off the board, giving over Boy Wonder that Nautilus. And I will have to see. It's going to be mid lane or top lane. What's the target here? I wouldn't mind a Fiora ban here from Exodia, as they've been really struggling up against that pick from Cookie Crook.
Yeah, take away the thing Cookie Crook is the most comfortable into, because you really don't want to give that Fiora another opportunity to just shine through and carry out the game. I'm not sure what the ban is. It's not appearing on my side, so... Oh, it's Aaliyah. Okay, now I saw it. Yeah. It's Aaliyah getting banned away, and Max, so far, hasn't had the same level of performance, I would argue, like he did in the previous series, but the Aaliyah was one of the champions that he shined the most on. So taking it away makes sense to me. And this game, particularly where there's so many dashes, that Aaliyah could have been important if it gets picked by Max. So I like the ban coming through. They still need to take away a top laner though.
For sure. Jace going to be that second ban, going to take away what could be a comfortable blind pick there for the side of Molly. Now the Ziggs ban, so the Fiora still going to be standing. What does Middlesticks want to take? I think for sure they blind something for Max here. The Ari is available, could be a big pick for him if he wants it. Could go for something like the Annie has been a big pick for them all season. The Syndra. What exactly do they choose to blind pick for this game?
Hey, you called it, Gordo, it seems. Syndra.
I mean, if you just name every mid lane champion, eventually you'll be right. And there it is.
True. But the Syndra getting picked here, really nice. Does have a lot of value thanks to the Scutter of the week and can really pull through in a lot of those fight situations. The Akali going against it though. Assassination value is going to be so high against the Syndra. And then team fighting wise, can find good targets if she positions herself really, really well. The Shroud is going to be massive as well. And they have a lot of follow-up onto the Akali to try and allow for her to get as much space as possible. But counter pick for Cookie Crook, it's going to be the Yarn. Could be the Fiora angle once again if he really wants to go for it here.
Yeah, I mean, why not, right? Oh, all right. Because you want to play Camille, I guess. Going to go in for this one. I suppose it is a very mobile setup from Exodia Exiles, so the ability to lock down a target could be pretty big here. Maybe favors how that matchup feels up against the Akali, who might be their opponent in the side lane in a lot of these situations. Really like the Akali pick for Zephyrat here, by the way. He's been able to do really well in mid lane up against Max. Has been really one of their strong points throughout this series, even in the losses to Middlesticks. So giving him the opportunity to pop off in that one-on-one, giving him the autonomy to have some really solid team fights, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Giving you the best performing player a carry potential, I agree 100%. It's the right choice here in a matchup that can be quite swingy. I do think that Akali probably wins out onto the Syndra a bit, but I also think Syndra playing right can poke it out, mess up a lot on the Akali, and the jungle assistance this game is going to be really important looking into the mid lane matchup. Udyr can lock down the Akali thanks to the point and click CC that he has. Even if she goes to Shroud, you can try and follow her as effectively as possible, and then you have the kill potential thanks to the Syndra. But the same can be said with the Jarvan. You jump on top of the Syndra, barely has any mobility, you collapse with the Akali on top of it, and an easy kill can snowball out of control. So mid lane 2v2s are going to be really, really fun to see this game.
Definitely going to be real interesting in those 2-on-2s. The Jarvan going to be so strong early on, but we've seen what Dragowski can do on the Udyr, and he has had some real solid performances on it. Is he still going to be going for that early damage build as well? Might give him a little bit more oomph to try to work his way through the Jarvan and the Akali. Of course, Zephyrat, a very experienced Akali player. Doesn't get to play it too much these days. It's a little fallen out of the meta. Going to bust it out here up against the Syndra. Going to be looking for that one-on-one advantage.
Well, it did get buffed this patch, if I'm not wrong. I think this was the second buff
I think
patch.
you're right. Yep.
Yeah, because they buffed Akali and Sylas, so I just named it that.
It's the world's patch, baby. We got to get we got to get that entertainment value up. We're going to have a lot of eyes on the game pretty soon.
I'm all in for this. And if that's the case, even more merit to try and go for the Akali, more value with the extra damage that she's getting. And in a game that decides your life in the tournament, right? This is an elimination game for the side of Exiles. If they lose here, they are out. And the grand finals will be for Return of the Middlesticks. They are going down, or not going down, we still haven't played. They are going in with everything. With Akali, with Jarvan, with the Kai'Sa. They want to get into the enemy and try and kill them as hard as they can. Similar to the previous game.
Yeah. The Akali buffs are big, by the way. If you haven't checked out the patch notes, it's energy down on early levels for the Q.
Great.
That's a big deal. I mean, that's really the most miserable stage of Akali gameplay is the early levels where you cast one kunai, and unless you cast W as well, you can't even cast a second one. Getting that second one a little bit more frequently, especially if you do manage to trigger your passive, going to be a huge deal here and going to really unlock a little bit more power for Zephyrat and make it easier to navigate this Syndra lane.
Makes trading patterns much better, like you're pointing out. So I'm excited to see how the Akali will perform here. And another play that I'm kind of interested in looking at how it goes, right? Because we haven't talked much about it. We were expecting the Fiora to come through, and it's actually the Camille. And I think a lot of that has to do precisely because of the Akali and the Kai'Sa. There's so much mobility between these two champions, and the lockdown that you need to try and collapse on top of them, the Camille will provide that much better than the Fiora, because she's much in between to both Fiora and what a tank does. obviously not the survivability part, but the lockdown part is what Camille does really, really great. So if she's able to get on top of the Akali with her ultimatum, Akali cannot escape. You locked her down and are able to collapse on a kill. And the same for the Kai'Sa. Really like the Camille for that idea. And then in the split push department, she's going to also find a lot of value. Ornn cannot stop the Camille from running the split push in the side lane.
For sure. Now we have ticked on down. We got our 3-minute delay coming on across. And it is going to all come down to this match, potentially. Exodia Exiles, despite having beaten Middlesticks 2-0 in their upper bracket matchup earlier on, they've got to be able to fight back here and take us to a game number 5, or their ACL run will end here with a 3rd place finish. Certainly are going to hope that they can get themselves turned back around to take this to a game number 5. They want that rematch with Mirage Alliance. The Middlesticks, they want to crack at them as well, and it is getting very close to them being able to do that. They just need one more win in these next 2 games, and if they have it their way, they're going to close it out right here, right now.
Exactly, and this is also precisely why I love the lower bracket runs. The fact that one bad game doesn't define your whole tournament life is really good, and I think Middlesticks are showing that perfectly. It also can impact a bit on the timing matters because Exiles is playing with a bit of subs here and there, but trying to give more opportunity to a team to improve and become better the longer it goes with the tournament is something that I enjoy to see. And Middlesticks have been the perfect showcase of that so far in the tournament. I would love to see them in the grand finals, but this is not yet the last game unless Middlesticks close it out. If Middlesticks doesn't close it out here, we may get one more, and we haven't had a BO5, an actual BO5 that goes the full length so far, Gordo. I think we had one in the previous split, but so far in this one, we haven't had one.
Looking like it could be a banger here. And I do like the draft for Exodia Exiles. I like that they're doubling down on Zephyrat, who has been their best performer tonight. I think the Kai'Sa's still busted, and it's a good pick to give over to Makel. When they had Makel on the Kai'Sa in game number 2, it worked out really well for them. They were able to position really well in fights. I like the Rakan, and the absence of the Rel is trying to throw in a little bit of a wrench into the gameplay that Return of the Middlesticks have gone through so far. But, you know, Middlesticks, they still get some of their comfort picks, right? They get Xayah for Pape, who's just been huge. And when he can peel for himself, he just gets even bigger. The Syndra has been a big pick for Max, and the Udyr for Dragowski has been especially dangerous as well. And I mean, the problem, the whole series has been the top lane, right? It has consistently been Kooky Krook able to develop these advantages for himself. And now he has got a winning counter matchup and the Camille into this Ornn. I mean, finding a way to get Molly through the laning phase definitely feels like it's got to be a big focus here for the side of Exodia.
Exactly, thinking about that first game, right? As soon as Molly kind of lost any sort of grip of the top lane and the rest of the map kind of went a bit haywire, Molly really wasn't never a part of the game at that point. The ultimates weren't really that big, couldn't really tank. He was getting shredded by the Vigar, and he was a tank. So he needs to have a much consistent game this time around. He doesn't need to go for solo kills. He doesn't need to set up for perfect plays. He just needs to not die up there in the 1v1, and then when Dragon's fights come, have his teleport for potentially go in and help the team. Because that's also another thing that I think Molly has been lacking. It's using teleport aggressively or in bad timings when his team is setting up for potential plays. And Middlesticks has punished that really well.
They have indeed. Starting things off now. We are in the loading screen. We will be on to the Rift here before too long for what could be the last time tonight. Really want to see how this mid-jungle duo is going to play out. And it's like we have just about loaded in here. So I'm going to give it another second or two. But TBS, what lane are you focusing on the most for this game number 4?
Well, mid lane, is always my favorite to see. He always can have so much fun, and you never know, even in matchups that are supposed to be boring, someone can die randomly. So I wouldn't even be against that. But I think I want to focus a lot on what the junglers will accomplish, because Lonzo and Dragowski have junglers that can make things happen early on. And I want to see what do they try and go for really early on.
All right. Well, we are on to the Rift. Game number 4 underway. Return of the Middlesticks on the red side. 1 win away from a visit to the grand finals. Return of the Middlesticks would be their first time attending here for the ACL in the matchup up against Mirage. Meanwhile, Exodia Exiles, they want that rematch. They've got to win 2 in a row in order to do it. They've already taken one here tonight. They've shown us that they have a recipe. Can they repeat it and find some success here?
In another game where no level 1's actually happening, Mali needs to be careful here not to actually go into that push against Cookie Crook. And it's just going to be a typical start. Udyr and Jarvan, though, starting on opposite side of the map, so maybe a bit more focus on the bot lane for Dragowski and a bit more focus on the top lane for Nonso. And it's something that has happened quite a bit in the series as well, right? The fact that we haven't had junglers start on the same side that frequently at all.
Definitely haven't. Good trade back there from the side of Zephyrat. Starting off in the early game, utilizing those early buffs. Q does a little bit more damage early on as well. So all around, just making that level 1 Akali a little bit more dangerous. Still probably going to be at a disadvantage here for a little while until that Syndra, or at least until they get some extra gold and can really duel with the Syndra in a more complete way.
They're trading quite heavily there in the mid lane. Zephyrat really looking aggressive and trying to make the most out of those trades.
Yep, Barlow stepping on up here. Just trying to keep them zoned away from the wave. Is looking like it's going to be an early level 2 for Makel and Barlow at this rate. They do have themselves a really solid trade here. Boy Wonder misses the dredge line to try to get away, but they're focusing on the Puppet instead. Going to chunk him to about half HP. Boy Wonder going to take some damage while he's at it as well. A nice early start here for the Exodia Exiles bot lane.
Yeah, really good early trade down there, but it's not the first time we've seen that so far. Bot lane has been really well won at the start of the game by the side of Exiles. They have won the level 2, I think, the 4 games so far, and they've set up their plays really well. A dive coming through.
Yeah, going to look to focus in on the Puppet. He has to flash away, but he is getting focused down. He will go down despite the exhaust, despite the flash. It's first blood to Exodia Exiles.
Oh, no.
This cleanup from Dragowski. He's got himself a double kill and is going to chase Lonzo back over the wall. It's a net advantage over to the side of Middlesticks at the end of the day, but actually, this is a big wave crashing in. Could be a little bit of CS getting denied from Puppet as well.
Yeah, the wave is so big that it actually got the plate by itself. The first plate fell down just because of the minions. That was how big that wave was. Huge CS deficit now, or maybe not that huge, quite a bit of a CS deficit now for Puppet, but the fact that they are able to turn around that play. That Dragowski gets 2 kills, and they still blow both the flashes from the jungle and both bot laners from Exiles, quite big for Return of the Middlesticks. Will it work out that effectively? Maybe not. But at the very least, having that sort of advantage can be really good for them.
Sure can here. Now, Zephyrat still just farming on up in mid lane. He's doing a good job of keeping up in CS with this Syndra earlier on. Early bot lane advantage. Now going to really actually not swing too hard either way. I mean, Makel's got the CS lead, and that's going to be a big deal. He's got the XP lead as well because of all those minions that ended up dying to the tower. But the kills both go over to junglers, so really see how they can spread this lead around the map. I mean, that super early blasting wand for Dragowski is going to have to feel good when he starts throwing on down that Phoenix Storm, both to clear out minions and also to kind of get in some of these big ganks.
Yeah, the more gold you have as the Udyr, the better it is to try and make trades happen your way. Cookie Crook taking quite a bit of damage there, but looking like it's not going to turn into much. Has a bit of an advantage up there, Mali, because of the Ruby Crystal. I think it's going to get baited if he's not careful enough.
Nice trades here from Zephyrat, diving on in with the Shuriken flip. Now trades back and forth from Cookie Crook and Mali as well. Mali getting some good damage out here on the early game. Ornn, tactical sweep will get him a little bit back, but you got to respect the base damages of the Bellows Breath, TDS. They can get quite messy. You do continue to get hit by him. A trade back, Boy Wonder focusing in on a Barlow. Nice dodge away on the feather pull, but Makel takes the brunt of it and is going to get chunked to about half HP as Lonzo is paying a repeat visit. Does show himself as he hits the tower. Doesn't look like that dive's going to be able to present itself. Boy Wonder, he's got so much CC underneath that turret, it's too dangerous.
Yeah, they really do love to try and threaten Puppet as much as possible, but that means it's going to be so much of a CS deficit now for the Saya. Not going to take the back there. The only one that is going to back here is going to be Cookie Crook, but they need to try and find an answer, and it's looking like maybe a potential bot lane play. It's going to get spotted.
no quite follow-up available here.
They're
It's
going
still
for
just
it.
Dragowski hanging out though. They land the hook on Barlow. He's got the follow-up, but he is snared up. And here comes that Cyclone following them on down. Chunks out a bit of damage. Barlow now probably too low to stay in lane from too long, and that might just be what costs them the dragon, as Dragowski is looking to already start it on up.
And not only the Dragon, now the wave is in a spot where the Saya can try and collect quite a bit of CS. They have to answer to this wave because the Kai'Sa cannot get that far behind. They cannot allow for this to get lost into the turret. And that means that, like you're pointing out, Dragon going to die. Although Akali has the first move, maybe they actually look for something. Now they are going to respect it.
Yeah, recall from Barlow, farming from Lonzo. It is not going to be a contest on Dragon number 1. That one is going to go on over to Middlesticks. And a minute 30 to go until Rift Herald. They try to rotate up for it if they want. Molly going all in the top lane though. As called, the Forge God doesn't recast.
I think he failed. Did he go a bit too early on it? Has to be, right?
He might have. Yeah, not going to get the follow-up knockup. Probably wasn't a kill either way, but would have been some good damage as Cookie Creek now is all in as Molly is tanking the turret at least for one shot. And with that adaptive shield, he's going to keep on chasing him down. A nice knockup landed off the securing charge, but he knows that he doesn't have the ultimate available. Gonna give up on the chase. Doesn't want to end up losing these minions for a kill that might not manifest itself.
Yeah, the Ornn is still too tanky for the Camille to try and go for it. At the end, it's just ultimate for ultimate. Boy Wonder needs to be a bit careful here. He's trying to hold the wave, but it's not going to be accomplished, and it's just going to be another plate for the Kai'Sa here.
Yeah, I mean, that might end up giving him just enough time to share the siege minion, and it does. All right, you know what? Actually, that was genius. Totally calculated by Boy Wonder. Deserves all the credit in the world.
Fully agree. Best support in the league. Just for that one.
Yeah,
minute.
let me go back. I gotta change some of my all-pro votes here real quick. I swear. All-star votes. I think we'll announce all-stars tomorrow. I believe voting closes tonight.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't remember if it closes at midnight or if it's already closed. Double check the Aegis Discord there. If it hasn't closed yet, still time to vote.
And if it is, don't be swayed
there isn't
by
time to
whatever
vote, yeah.
happened here. Maybe we can sway enough people with the series right now to not make it so that Mirage is the one that has like multiple first place.
True. I mean, I personally intentionally voted in such a way to not just give Mirage first place for everything, but that might not be true for everybody. The Rift Herald is started on up.
Yep.
Akel up here going to be rejoining the rest of the squad to make sure that they are able to obtain that Herald. They do give it on over to Lonzo. This does give Puppe some alone time in the bot side with Molly. I mean, Molly at least can farm in that matchup and doesn't have to be as concerned about potentially getting taken down by Cookie Creek, but we'll see if they're going to keep that going. Nah, it looks like they're going to swap right back after the Rift Herald's secured. Makel and Barlow coming on down here off of the recall.
Not gonna lie though, I really dislike that play by the side of Exiles. The initial idea is really good. Send your bot lane and move your top laner down there to try and respond to the wave that is crashing and have your strongest part go for the Herald. But because of this move, they essentially gave Puppe an opportunity to catch up. Look at Puppe's CS deficit. Like, yes, it's going to get closer here, but it could have been much bigger if they just keep on committing to the play up there in the top lane. Now the Kai'Sa is equal, the Camille is even better spot, and they have the Rift Herald, but they are not going to use it bot lane as of now at the very least.
For sure. Dragowski coming on in from the top side. A hook
nice.
almost lands from Boy Wonder. It doesn't quite connect. Makel did have to blow the flash. Otherwise, not going to result in too much fighting. Lonzo paying a visit towards the bottom side in case they go aggressive. This looks like it's going to be the regular old push. Dragowski returns to the farm.
Dragowski goes back to farming. Akali was also moving into the bot lane to try and maybe make the play happen, but it's not going to turn into that. Puppe needs to be careful though with Rakan level 6 and also the Jarvan here.
Ooh, big knockup lands on a Puppe there. He does have to go into the Featherstorm, flashes back away, but does get charmed up by the quickness from Barlow. Puppe still standing though at the end of the day, has to use both of his summoners and his ultimate, but he does not drop, and they do not have anything left to chase him any further. It's up to Dragowski to clear on out the wave, and doing a good job of it here, just stepping on up towards the Rift Herald, trying to prevent the crash. It will successfully obtain a couple of plates. Otherwise, Puppe will successfully recall and get out to safety. He's going to fall further behind in CS, though. Wave crash is coming up soon. It will get farmed up by Dragowski. That is not where you'd rather the farm go.
Rogaski though has to be really happy about what's happening. He's collecting farm, kills, and everything from bot lane on the side. Apart from his farm, he's just getting the rest that it's left down there, and it's really good for them collecting all that gold. Well, at the very least, not allowing that gold to disappear just like that. But Poppy needs to be a bit more ready for those sort of plays. Rakan level 6, they don't know what the Jarvan is, and they know that no play happened topside. So at the very least, you have to be ready for it to come through. And with no cleanse, he took exhaust instead of cleanse, which makes sense because he's answering to the Kali, but we see what happens when you take no cleanse. That play is dangerous for you.
Yeah. Now, Zephyros in mid, fighting up against Max, going all in here with the perfect execution. Kooky Krook is here for the backup though. The stun lands, and that's just gonna be a solo kill for Max. Kooky Krook, he's here for emotional support. He doesn't even need to get involved.
And that's enough to get the solo kill for Max. Is it the first solo kill by Max so far this series? I think it has to be, right? No, actually, maybe in the first game with the Vigar.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he just randomly blew up the support somewhere or something, but in lane, definitely, I think gotta be his first one up against Zephyros here. As now with that numbers advantage, they're gonna start calling down members to start up this dragon. It is teleport available for Zephyros, but he doesn't have ultimate. He probably can't fight this. CC immune through the quickness, but it is Dragowski getting focused down. He throws down that snowstorm, but he will drop. Big shutdown picked up there by Lonzo, but look at Puppe throwing down the feathers, pulling the back, and taking out Lonzo. Now no jungler available. Zephyros back here. He's diving in with or without the ultimate, gets pulled back by Boy Wonder, and Puppe looking for a target to hit, finds one in the form of Molly, and Molly will drop here before too long. Storm's huge, and Barlow has to flash away as well. Puppe looking for Makel, killer instinct back over the wall, but Boy Wonder manages to finish him off. Max gets that kill, and Kooky Krook has arrived to the play. Now ready to start up the dragon for the rest of the team as Dragowski's respawned, Lonzo's respawned, and we might not be done here, TDS.
What is up with Kooky Krook arriving for moral support in most of these plays? Like, he's there, he has goodwill, but he doesn't really find the value that he's looking for in some of those fights. At the end of the day though, both junglers died, both AD carries died. Nobody got the dragon. It's started once again by Dragowski, and maybe this time it's going to be much cleaner for them because I don't think they're going to be contested. But Poppy also almost has a highlight play. If not for the, I think he pulled back the feathers a bit too early in that play. The idea was fine, but the pull was a bit too early.
Kooky Krook, he might be 0-0-0, but he's witnessed a lot of violence in his time. He's got so much kill XP and nothing else, as he just gets to see the violence right as it's ending. Max, it's a big trade here up against Lonzo. Chunks him to about 2/3. Backup is there in the form of Zephyros. Puppe challenging Makel once again, knows that he has the backup of Dragowski behind him. Both parties back on away. 1 and 2 for both of these carries, and the static shiv damage continues to find its way through onto Puppe.
Even if it's nerfed static shift, it's still doing quite a bit of damage on top of you on this guy, so you have to be careful, Poppy. And the turret, no turret has fallen just yet. Even with the repair, nobody was able to push the bot lane turret on its entirety. At the very least, until now. It's looking like maybe it's going to happen soon.
Dragowski finding his way onto Barlow, who is going to dash back away. Still does have that battle dance to get back to the rest of the team. Makel just continuing to fire out these Void Seekers. Meanwhile, Kooky Krook has maybe found Molly up in the top side. He's already down to about half HP. He's got the Divine Sunderer. He's got the Q with its plenty of true damage, but besides that, it's probably not going to work on out. And this could be first turret gold going over to Makel. Puppe just doesn't have the backup to clear out the wave, and that's going to be a big amount of gold going into this Kaisa as they're focusing on the Boy Wonder now. They've got him charmed up, and now they're going to catch on to Dragowski on the other side. Middlesticks getting caught unawares across the map. They lose their jungler. Their support's about to go down as well as Barlow gets the double knockup, and Puppe maybe bit off more than he can chew here. He can't get the stun back off the vision, but he takes the Makel anyway off a huge crit, and he's regenning everything here. Now stepping forward, flashing over the wall, looking to take down Barlow. It's a double kill to Puppe.
You know what? If Max steals that, that's reportable. That there's no way. Puppe commits flash for that. You cannot steal that, Max. At the end of the day, though, 2 for 2 kills technically. Dragowski died early. Oh wait, Cookie.
Cookie Group joining in on the party here. Just goes and hangs out on the wall for a little bit as Max is coming in for the backup. They are going to throw down the ultimate onto Zephyros, but the backup's just not here. Dragowski's so far away. Cookie Group is so deep in. No summoners. Looks back over the wall. Gets himself to safety. Finding himself the faintest of angles to get out of dodge there, and now has to recall back.
Does that mean it's Herald now for them? Because they have the 2 members backing, but it's also much stronger for Desire to be here. There's no teleport on either Cookie Crook or Max though, so the collapse is much easier on them.
Dragowski finding himself in the middle of 4 members once again, getting focused, getting chased back up onto the ramp. Puppet trying to return damage, and Lonzo going to get forced back away. They will be again resuming their Rift Herald dance. The whole Boy Wonder though, starting things off on a Barlow. Kooky Krooks into the back line. He doesn't have access to the ultimate, but he's just gonna try to push him back. Molly the first one to drop. The charms coming across onto everybody, but look at Max's damage. And Puppet raining through the feathers, gonna be able to tear through the squad of Exodia Exiles. 4 members drop for only 2 on the side of Middlesticks.
The play may have been forced by the side of Exiles, but the answer back by the side of Middlesticks is just that much better. In a small corridor, the damage from Max, the damage from Puppet is going to be massive, and they find such a good angle to make the play happen. But when you look at how the fight went, right? Mali gets a 3-man knockup, plus the re-engage from Lonzo and Bardo. That should have been a teamfight victory for them, but it just simply, it's not enough when they have that much damage from the Syndra and the Saya.
Yeah, how many splinters are we at? We're at 89 splinters, so getting stronger and stronger here. Max doing a good job of stacking them up. Looking for that 120, but each upgrade more meaningful than the last. Feeling very strong on this 4-0 and 2 Syndra.
Getting that ultimate upgrade is going to be so nice for him, being able to essentially execute targets as quickly as possible, and knowing that one of those targets is a Kaisa, probably much more satisfying for Max. Looking at him, he has had a good game so far, but really not compared to the Fiora game we saw previously, right? Pretty lackluster so far.
All right, Mako clearing things out, but now going to get collapsed on by the members of Middlesticks. Boy Wonder with a big hook coming in from the bottom side. Picks up another kill for Max, and they're just going to rip through the Rakan as well. Molly with the late engage, just going to stop them from running on through the rest of the team, but they found Zephyros one way or the other. In return to the Middlesticks, they feast on 3 members of Exodia Exiles, setting themselves up for a clean dragon take and pulling themselves further into the lead.
Perfect showcase of why the Kali. Max made it here.
Everything popped onto Max. Nice flash away from the Cataclysm. Molly charging forward. A nice no. And now the CC from Boy Wonder to secure the escape route for Max. He gets himself out of dodge, and now Boy Wonder just swinging that anchor away, doing everything he can to stop Molly from finding his mid.
The support against the top laner. Meanwhile,
still going. These guys are going to the death. Okay, Boy Wonder realizes, okay, you know what? I don't have the itemization to do this. As here comes Zephyros off on the backside. Nice dodge away from Puppet using the Feather Storm. He's going to turn it back on Molly. Gets the rift and is going to be able to pick up the kill. As now it's going to be Puppet focused on down. He goes down to Mako as Mako finds a second one in the form of Boy Wonder. 2 more kills given back over to Exodia Exiles. That play going to favor them at the end of the day. They are about to get out of soul point. Max is just running it down mid. He will go down, but they do pick up the dragon.
It's not against Max. It's quite literally what just happened. He ran down mid and he ends up getting killed. Plus, Dragowski does collect the dragon, but really over committing there a bit from the side of Middlesticks. Puppet was pushing mid lane, meanwhile Mali and Boy Wonder were fighting, right? Then he goes back, decides to ultimate before the Kali uses her combo, and pretty much doesn't get a lot of value out of that. No flash on Poppy at all in this opportunity. So he cannot just flash back and try and escape. And then Max teleports back in, which is perfectly fine, but then decides to go forward without having any support. At that point, that's where you kind of question your decision there, Max.
Yeah, that was a fat shutdown too. I mean, you really want to be responsible with that. Max is not, so that ends up being gold given over to Akali. We'll see if it ends up mattering. Still going to be about a 4K gold lead given over to Middlesticks.
It's not the best when you give that much gold to the Akali, but she hasn't completed a second item, so I would argue maybe not the worst as of now. Kai'Sa is on 2 items though, and I think she's going for the more AP oriented build, which means that she's going to poke really heavily.
For sure. Barlow stepping up towards mid lane here, or towards the Baron rather. As it's 4 members of Middlesticks setting up to take control over this river. Max does not have teleport, so it will be a numbers advantage to Exodia for now, and they found their way onto Kukikrook. He's got to flash over the wall and expend ultimate to dodge out on some of those abilities. Lots of resources taken off of Kukikrook in a potential 5-on-5 Baron standoff.
And not the best to start to the fight for the side of Middlesticks, but now they have the Syndra on the side, they have Max, their strongest member, I would argue, and also Kukikrook looking aggressive.
Kukikrook will not be dissuaded. He doesn't need his cooldowns. He's going to look for action anyway, as here comes Dragowski off of the side lane, looking to try to slow them on down with this Phoenix form. Stepping back away now. Puppe is here for the backup, as is the rest of Middlesticks. It's going to be a recall coming on through for the side of Exodia Exiles. The Baron could get started at any time here from Middlesticks.
Right now. Just as you were saying, immediate start, but they're not clearing the vision on that one bush, so they know that it's going to happen. Ooh.
Boy Wonder finding plan. Zephyrat just going to commit the depth charge. They're going to try to focus down the Akali going into the Shroud. Barlow now going to be the next target. They find their way out of Max. Max goes down first once again, but Puppe with a perfect angle to keep throwing the feathers. Picks up his first shutdown, but there's going to be a kill on Dragowski at the same time. The front to back is just too strong for Middlesticks. Makel going to have to come up with a miracle fight. Killer Instinct to the backside takes down the support, but he's going to get cut down by Puppe for the effort. Puppe carries the fight, and it's a 4-for-3. Middlesticks just eking out a little bit ahead.
They may have found the Syndra, but in the play, Puppe was left in touch. And when you leave the AD carry in touch, that's exactly what's going to happen. Teleport back in. Are they going to try and actually fight this with no smite on their side?
Yeah, I mean, Lonzo is here. Lonzo has the smite. They see the feathers too. I mean, they're going to have to turn on Lonzo right now. Kukikrook going on in, forces the flash of Lonzo, and there's the Hextech ultimatum. They used it before the fight, and it's back up just in time. Now the jungler's out of here, and Amali teleports in just to find himself in a 1-versus-3. Big knockup landed on the Puppe, trying to trade it back, but one more Kraken Slayer will do it. Featherstorm to take out the kill, but he will go down to Zephyrat off the back of a TP. Zephyrat with another big shutdown onto this Akali, getting fed so much gold off the mistakes of Middlesticks, but Middlesticks isn't done. They're moving forward onto Barlow. Barlow's gonna have to dash back away with the battle dance as they follow up with the scatter the weakener.
Michael's there.
Follow up Makel. Makel goes down to a full combo from Max, and now Zephyrat trying to clean up the carries, but just finds himself face to face with the dredge line. Double kill picked up for Max. Boy Wonder bails him out, and it's gonna be return of the Middlesticks starting up the Baron once again.
Even if Puppe dies, that's still not enough for Middlesticks to lose out on the Baron. Lonzo trying to get here as fast as possible, but I don't think they will have enough distance to be able to get here, and that's going to be Baron. And with 30 seconds before the soul spawns, they will be able to fight at full strength with Baron buff, with a Syndra close to level 16, and a lot of items to their most important members. We may be close to the end of the game, Gordo. At this point, Middlesticks is looking so strong.
Maybe close to the end of the series as well. Check on out those Splinters of Wrath. Max getting plenty strong here. Has got Transcendence, got 45 more AP. That stacks on up with the Rabadons. Tons of extra damage for the Syndra as Kukikrook diving in, diving out, looking around for potential engage angles. Dragowski still looking for slows. It's a dive in from Zephyrat. He's all in onto Max, but I don't think he landed. The Shuriken flip goes back in. Can't quite finish him off. Is he going to commit? Looks like he's just going to try to back away, but Puppe is going to be able to finish him off with the feathers. Now they're going to lock down on the target. They take down Rakan while they're at it, and this is the most important carries taken out of the fight. Kukikrook has finished off the Kai'Sa. It's a 5-for-0 ace for return of the Middlesticks, and say goodbye to Exodia as return of the Middlesticks are marching through mid lane. There's nobody to stop them from taking on down the inhibitors, nobody to stop them from cracking open the Nexus turrets, and nobody to stop them from taking on Mirage Alliance in tomorrow's grand final. Return to the Middlesticks lock themselves top 2 and eliminate the Exodia Exiles.
Revenge completed, Gordo. From 2-0 in the upper bracket to 3-1 in the lower bracket finals. They turn around everything and they are now able to face Mirage Alliance tomorrow in the grand finals. Exodia, they didn't find the 5 pieces. They couldn't win the game. They were lacking there. And at the end, they are going to sadly miss out on the grand finals. Really close, but really close is not enough to get there. Huge props to Middlesticks, and the improvement that they've shown has been amazing so far. They knew what they needed, they knew what they wanted, and they have done such an amazing job so far. Really deserve to be here.
They definitely do. A great run from Return of the Middlesticks. A nigh undefeated lower bracket run, losing their very first matchup of the playoffs. Or no, actually, they did take down CB Gaming in the first round. So not quite their first matchup, but losing their second matchup in the playoffs to Exodia Exiles, and then just running the whole gauntlet. 2-0, 2-0, 3-0, 3-0, 3-1. Now going to be playing in those grand finals off of beating the team that sent them down here in the first place. It's a great story.
It's all setting up perfectly for Middlesticks. And now, even though they finally find their revenge, it's not stopping here, right? They have one more team in front of them, one more before being able to win it all in the ACL. But it's also the biggest test every team has to face so far. Mirage Alliance is not going to be easy. And I'm trying to bring down as much as possible how much of a Goliath they have to face up there. But it's a fight that if they bring their A game to, can be possible to win. They are not undefeated. They are not impossible to destroy. It's just really, really difficult.
Yeah, it is going to be a tough run here to be able to take on Mirage Alliance, but Return of the Middlesticks have earned that right. They've beaten every team that we've thrown up against them in this lower bracket, and now they are going to look to face off against a matchup that they're hoping to find themselves in their NACLQ run as well. It's going to be a real tough battle. This is a team that everybody in North American Amateur is fearing. This is a team that most people are expecting to be promoted up to the NACL in just a couple weeks' time. It is going to be a tough battle for Middlesticks, but they are the ones who've earned the right to attempt it.
Exactly, and the picture gets the right to see how their story ends. So hopefully we get to see a good Bo5. Maybe tomorrow we actually get the game 5 that we haven't gotten all split long. Difficult, but it could be really exciting to see coming through.
Certainly, and it looks like we're going to have a quick interview with Dragowski off the back of that win. We're going to throw it to a quick break while we get everything set up with him, but we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Welcome back, everybody, to the Aegis Champions League, where we are joined by Dragowski, the jungler of the victorious 3-1 Return of the Middlesticks. Congratulations, Dragowski. You are heading to the grand finals tomorrow.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It feels great.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I want to start off by asking you guys about the Udyr pick in particular for yourself. I mean, it's been a pick that you guys have been prioritizing more and more over the course of your playoffs run, locking it in twice here in your final 2 games. How does that pick fit into your team compositions and you as a player?
Well, you know, Udyr was actually one of the first junglers or champions I actually ever learned when I was younger. So once he got reworked, I picked him up almost immediately and I just kept playing him. And Udyr as a team for us, for the Return of the Middlesticks, has been a staple pick for us for probably since, I'd say about like 2 weeks into us playing. Like the first scrim we had, we were like, okay, we can see some good stuff coming out of this. Which is surprising because I've been on some other tryouts and other teams, and everybody hates Udyr. But with Return of the Middlesticks, like it just works perfectly with us. Like we just put it in our team comp, and it just seems unstoppable. Like I don't think we've lost a single game with it, honestly, in the ACL. If you look at the stats.
I think I would believe that. We would have to go back a bit, but I would believe that. We've seen every time we see the Udyr coming from you guys, it feels like it's winning and it's finding a lot of value. And I don't understand people not wanting to go for different picks, but there's a lot of questions about champion picks from multiple players and people. That being said, just looking at a bit of Return of the Middlesticks in general, right? Because last time we talked with you guys, or last time it was talked about with you guys, it was revenge against Exodia. The fact that they were throwing you down into the lower bracket, it was a team that day you didn't play to your best, and now you're able to confront your demons to a certain degree. I would call it that, and now moving to the grand finals. Was it an expected result? Was it looking like that since you went down to the lower bracket, or was it something that should have happened from the start?
I think looking back on it, if we played them again in that series, we definitely would have won. We just lost because I think we just had a bad night. We all came in, we all played individually bad. So as a team, we didn't look great, and they just sent us down there just on a bad night. So it kind of was expected, especially after game one. After I saw how much of a stomp game one was, I kind of knew that. Honestly, after the first 2-3 minutes, I knew the series was kind of wrapped up. After we stole their bot side on Viego and they didn't check it at all, I kind of knew the game was over because like at that level, like I realized then if the enemy team is not able to recognize that, that to me is such a simple thing that they have to grapple with, and if they're not able to check that, that just feels like I knew that from then the series was basically over, which was surprising because like you said they did 2-0 us and send us to the losers bracket. But I don't know if they had some roster changes or what happened, but yeah, it felt pretty confident. Like yeah, after the first game, it was just even after the game two loss, I think they didn't even beat us. We kind of just griefed it if we really look at it. So
Good stuff.
This is a
Good
quick thing.
stuff.
Just quickly, I love that you bring up the level one. That was such a good, like, I love to see the level ones from teams because it shows a lot of preparation and a lot of what they work on with their coach as well, if you guys have a coach. But it was so nice to see. Like, honestly, it was one of the best ones we've had so far in the ACL.
Yeah, our coach is great. He actually theory crafts a lot of that stuff, and we do put a lot of practice in especially when we were doing the NACLs. We were having a lot of scrims, and every time before game starts, if we do anything level one, we were talking about this before during draft, like what do we want to do? So I'd say that's one of our biggest strengths of the team is our level ones. We like to be proactive. We don't like to. We play to win. We don't play to not lose.
Awesome. Well, glad to hear you bring up the NACL run there a little bit. Well, happy to have you on because I wanted to ask. You were recently co-awarded Salty Runbacks Rookie of the Split for your run through the NACL Qs this past split. How do you feel about that award, and how do you feel about your performance here with Return of the Middlesticks in the last run through the NACL Qs and in ACL this split so far, given that you guys are kind of a newer team and kind of considered an up-and-coming team by a lot of different folks?
I'd say that it really feels great. It really feels like an honor because at the beginning of the summer, I basically was not known at all in the amateur scene because I've never played in it. And I remember my first introduction to it was the Winthrop tryouts. And I actually did an interview for that because they were doing like interviews for the Winthrop tryouts. And I remember I was saying like, oh, I really just want to be able to try and make my mark. And that was like about 3 months ago. And 3 months later, it's been a huge success to be awarded the, Rookie of the Year. I'm not like, I wasn't expecting that. I honestly, I was in a Diesel, if you know Diesel from Teamless Revenge. I was in a stream because he was just on Twitch. So I just went on Twitch. And I was like, yo, what's up, bro? I said something corny in his thing. He's like, oh, congrats on your win. And I was like, oh, what? And he's like, you won. So I was like, oh, that's hype. So I checked it out, and he was right. So that was it was very surprising to me as well because personally, I think I'm one of the worst players on the Return of the Middlesticks. Like I think our team is coming in. I was like, okay, I'm probably like fourth or fifth best player on this roster. I'm gonna just try and do my best to to elevate these guys to succeed. And I think that's what we were able to do as a team. We were able to just lift each other up. Even when we were down, they were able to come back. We got sent down to losers bracket. We dropped 1 game since then. NACL, the first spring qualifiers, we lost 2-3. It was pretty upsetting, but we came back 3-2 and managed to beat Komodo to go top 12. So it's been awesome, honestly. As just a team, it's been a real blessing. It's kind of because tomorrow it's really ending as our last match. It's kind of setting in that this is probably this might be it for at least a long time. At least till next NACL in 5 months. So it's really just to be grateful for to have this team, have this opportunity.
Such a nice atmosphere that it feels like you guys have. And the 2-3, don't worry about it. TA suffered from that for quite a while. So the fact that you already kind of went over the 2-3 unlucky start and already made it farther than them in the second split, I think already goes to show how good the Return of the Middlesticks team is and can be. Especially if you guys stick together for next year, could be really great to see in the NACL. And I also want to try and keep myself a bit on the NACL. Talking about or on the NACL atmosphere, because your opponent tomorrow, right? Mirage Alliance. You're going against potentially the best jungler at the tournament here in the NACL OQs. Is it a big task to go against? Do you think that you have equal strengths to him? Something that it's going to be a big difference maker, champ pool, anything like that? Is looking into tomorrow?
I would say definitely yes, because Chad Jungle really likes to play a bunch of those very aggressive early game junglers like Lee Sin, Graves, Kha'Zix, which is those types of champions. Those are more of my weaker matchups. So those are definitely something that we'll have to be considering, and different ways to counter them, and what different champs may want to play into them, and things like that. But I'd say it should be a lot of fun tomorrow. I think that's how I think all 10 players are going into it after we had such a long NACL season. It's all over. This is our last match. I think before I'm pretty sure Mirage Alliance, they joined the league late. And I remember before that, looking at the rankings, the seedings, I was like, oh, Return to Middlesticks, we win this 100% just based off rankings. And we got second place after Mirage joined, and Mirage is kind of insane. So
yeah.
So but that being said, we're still gonna give it our best shot, and we're looking for a 5 games tomorrow. So don't be expecting to get out of here by midnight. It might be 1 a.m. We're gonna be trying to drag this out. We're gonna try and give these guys a run for their money.
Okay.
Sounds good. And we do start half an hour earlier tomorrow, so we got that little bit of extra time in there as well. So you got to drag out that game time a little bit, and that's what you want to find. So
no, I really want just the long games because they're such a good team. So I just want the practice. 5 40-minute games. Fair. That's all I want. Win or lose.
Good stuff. So you did not play Mirage Alliance in this playoffs. As we mentioned, you were sent down to the lower bracket by Exodia. You did play them back, I think it was week 6 in the cross group matchups. Were not able to take a win there. Do you guys feel like your roster's changed a lot since then? I mean, you've played a lot of matches since. You've had your whole lower bracket run. You had that run in the NACLQ. What do you think is different about the team since the last time you faced off against Mirage?
I would say the one big thing is that we are much more confident together as a team, and through going through so many, the saying practice makes perfect. It's kind of true how we say 2 months ago, I'd be playing against Mirage and I'd be like, oh, this is these big names. I got Dardoch, Alorum, Chad Jungle, all these big names, Neo that I got to play against. 2 months ago, I was much more nervous. Now we can go into it and we're all pretty confident. We can relax and just play our best game. So I think that's the big thing, is that we're able to just play League of Legends. We're able to play our game and not play our opponent, if that makes sense. So I'd say that's one of our biggest improvements from 2 months ago, or from it was probably 2 months ago.
I like the mentality.
Like it as well. All right. Anything else, TDS?
As of now, no. I'm just excited for tomorrow's matchup. So
same
I think
here.
we can close it out here.
Well, thanks so much, Dragowski. Anything you want to shout out? Anything you want to say to everybody at home?
Shout out to my support, Jake, Boy Wonder. Though he's a rock down there, always doing great. But other than that, that's it.
All right, good stuff. Shout out to Boy Wonder. Looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. Quick shout out here from us to Coachify. Remember, Aegis Esports is sponsored by Coachify GG for the summer 2023 split. It's a commission-free esports coaching platform currently in open beta. Check out the panel below to check out their website and get some more information. We also got quick coaching session with Mike Young coming up in the Aegis Discord. Check that out. Stay tuned for that one coming in a couple of weeks. But for now, that's going to do it for our Aegis stream tonight. Thank you to Dragowski for joining us for the interview. And from myself, TDS, PVS on production, Coachify on the sponsor. Thank you all for tuning in, and we will see you again tomorrow for the grand finals.